Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Good. Everybody good? Someone said the intro's too long for the ADD. Listen, it gives everybody time to get in and get hyped, get ready for the craziness that we call these live streams that I do. What's good, everyone? We have a special show tonight. We got a special show tonight, and I'll be bringing up, my main man, Dre Blazanko. He'll be up here giving you guys some wisdom on this topic. You guys, this is a very, very important topic. First, before I get into that, welcome to the channel. This is Real Nathan Daly. I hope you guys had an amazing, amazing week. We are here Wednesday. Hold on, let me get all my little trinkets together, all my fancy stuff. You guys, listen. Every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You guys, you can find us here. This is our showtime, right? This is our dedicated showtime every Wednesday, 8:30. If something happens where we can't do it, I'll try to have something for you guys, but definitely 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You guys, also at the bottom is a link to all of the social media platforms that I'm on. Please check me out on Instagram. I'm there more than any of these platforms, but nonetheless, I need your support on all these as well. So please hit me up on there. It's also a good way to reach out. So I hope you guys had an amazing week so far. This is what they call hump day, right? So we're in the middle of this thing. What are we talking about? You guys see my previous video I did about it was kind of a surprise with Atlanta. The Atlanta district attorney for Fulton County District Attorney, she actually is putting in some serious work with the gangs and the gang violence. We have a very, very, very horrendous violent issue in this city. You guys know I'm here in Atlanta, and so we've been having a lot of problems with gang and gang violence. Now there's some controversy, right, with the way she's going about doing her thing, and she's making these indictments, right? So just recently, she put out a 26 defendant. She indicted 26 people. 18 have been arrested. I don't know since yesterday if there's been any more, but so far 18 have been arrested. I think there's 5 or 6 still at large. But this is a sweeping indictment. She's just gathered all these people together, and she is ready to put them in jail, put them in prison, you guys. What's the reality? A lot of people don't know, but nationwide, 50%, damn near almost 50% of the violent crimes are carried out by people. It's gang related, right? 50%, almost 50% of the violent crimes are gang related. Statistics show that there's gang involvement, right? We're talking from violence, robbery, homicide, sex trafficking, you guys. It's a big one, right? And so again, gangs are an issue in a lot of cities, almost all cities, some of the major cities. The majority of gangs are in some of our biggest cities, right? That's also another fact. So what's the unique thing about these gangs, right? We talk about the correlation with music, gang violence, music, rap music, hip hop music, right? And then we throw a little sprinkle of black culture in there. You guys, everything starts to look a little muddy. Things start to look a little funny. And this is what's happening, right? This is why this particular case and the one before, we're going to be talking about the Fannie Willis, the district attorney for Atlanta, for Fulton County. She is using rap lyrics as evidence to support her case for these indictments, you guys. This is a very, very huge win for correcting a lot of the issues with the rap music, a lot of issues within black culture. You know, we got to start calling these things out, right? We have to stop celebrating the negative, the violence, the negativity that surrounds this music, surrounds black culture. We have to start calling it out, right? It's absolutely destroying communities. You guys, a lot of people hate when I say that. They hate to hear it. I promise you, I assure you, based on my experience and what I've seen, and I know what a lot of people have seen, this is absolutely true. The music, people are becoming indoctrinated by the music. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. People in the music, rappers, they don't like to hear that. They don't like for their music to be associated, right, with violence and death, drugs, overdosing, sexual assault, but it is. right? There's a direct correlation. There's also direct correlation between the music and the prison industry, the prison industry and the drug industry, along with the weapons industry. You guys, they're all interconnected, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but I'm telling you, there is a connection. You have some cities that are trying to fight it. You have a lot of people within Black culture who want to fight the idea that that rap lyrics can be used against them as evidence. But if you confess to a crime, if you describe how you're committing said crime through your music, then you're out of here. Absolutely. Listen, I've seen criminals perform criminal acts on social media. Guess what, you guys? I use it, right? I had a case where a guy had a gun and some stolen items, blah, blah, blah. Guess what I did? I just screenshotted the picture. I zoomed in, I ran the serial number, and guess what I did? I found out the gun was stolen that he had in his hand. Guess what else, right? Trace it back to where he was able to do some other stuff, right? Sprinkle some police magic, and voila, you guys, I got a case solved. I picked him up, solved the case, solved the armed robbery, solved the carjacking. By what? By a criminal, a gang member, flashing items, stolen items, guns. He's not supposed to have a gun, doing all these things, right? On social media, I was able to solve multiple crimes. I was able to actually bring justice to several victims. You guys, we have gotten to a point to where we are celebrating and we are uplifting the bad guys, right? We're they're doing so much. They're making music and they're giving out school supplies. Someone made an excuse saying, oh, they're giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving. Well, so what, right? In one hand, you give out turkeys. And on the other hand, you're taking people's lives. You're shooting and killing people. You're pumping drugs through communities. You guys, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Could you imagine if that was the excuse we made for everybody? Hey, well, this philanthropist, he's been building all these schools for runaway children and, children who don't have parents and, foster kids, giving them all this. Yeah, then you turn around and find out behind closed doors, he's running a brothel with these kids that he's trying to save, right? Or he's the main one sex trafficking these kids. So again, if one hand you give life, but the other hand you bring death, what's the point? Right? What's the point? When the YSL game, Young Slime Life, Young Thug, and his merry bands of misfits, right? When they got locked up, you guys, people were crying, right? Black people were mad. You had a lot of Black youth who were like, oh, I can't believe the police are always harassing us. Look at this harassment. This is racism. This is systemic racism. Why they got to mess with the rappers? You guys, if you even knew half the stuff that they were doing, half of the stuff, we have to stop celebrating the worst in our community, right? We don't put this same energy to all the college graduates who have doctorate degrees or those who are becoming medical professional, lawyers, right? People who are starting their own business, men and women who are doing amazing things for the community, right? People who have nonprofits who are trying to help and educate. Like, we don't celebrate, we don't put that same type of energy into them. Why do we glorify rappers and athletes, right? And things of that nature? I don't understand, you guys. I don't get it. I absolutely do not get it. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about, shout out to my psych students. Shout out to you. We're also going to talk about, which can't be ignored, right? We're going to talk about what the rappers think about. In New York City, right, there's a DJ, can't think of his name right now, but he decided that he would not play music that had violence in it anymore. He said he's not going to do it. And guess what? The DJ's white, right? The DJ's white. Someone would have to look it up. I can't think of his name right now, but a white DJ decided that he is no longer going to play violent rap music in the clubs or wherever he's at performing. He said, I'm not going to do it. You guys, that's how it works, right? Someone has to step up and say, this is not acceptable. You got to start hitting them in the pockets for them to change. Then I hear people say things like, well, this stuff is racist and, they want, the powers that be who run the music industry are creating this problem, right? This is what they're asking for. No, they are asking to make money. They want to make money. It's we, the consumers, who are facilitating the growth and the expansion of this toxic music. Yes, good point. Violence was along. We're not talking about just any kind of violence, though. Violence will always be here forever, right? We're not talking about any kind of violence. We're talking about the influence of rap music and the youth, the teens, and the behaviors of people. That's what we're talking about. How does this? Yes, violence is a part of it, but that's not the only part, right? There's a lot of things that that people are becoming influenced from by the music, right? Again, drugs, robbery, homicides. We're talking about, of course, other criminal enterprises. And then, of course, all of them are bad, but a lot of people don't realize how sex trafficking and also sex crimes are connected as well in this, right? So there's a lot of it. There's absolutely a lot of it. The misguided idea that rap music is going to save people in the inner cities, right? Rap music, if I just become a rapper, it'll put me in a better place in life. It'll give me an opportunity to succeed, right? That's what's being talked about within the Black community, that this is a way for you to right, to survive, right? I'm rapping about the events that happen in the inner cities as a way. Let this be a flagship to get me out of here, right? So I can be rich, I can be wealthy, I can change my circumstances, instead of us, right, promoting the education, promoting a purpose, promoting jobs, promoting, using your talents and your gifts. There are so many people who believe that rapping music, or sports are the only ways to be successful. Why is that? Why is that? We're going to talk about this indictment. We got to talk about it. When you hear the things that were done, you guys, I had to do a stream on this. I did a small video for those who caught it, but we got to dive deeper. We absolutely have to dive deeper into this whole situation. And again, I'm going to have Drake come up and talk to you about the laws, about gangs, about gang investigations, and give you some information on it as well. But before I bring him up, I gotta drop him the link. Hold on, before I do that, I want you to hear this conversation with. Before I do that, I'm gonna let Dre speak on it, because this conversation needs Dre's voice, right? For those who don't know Dre, you're gonna get familiar with him, right? I call him Dre Dropping Gems Jenkins. You guys, all he knows how to do, right? As soon as he talks, gems start falling out, right? Let me not overhype him just because he put too much pressure on the brother tonight. But no, he always provides great insight. Always provides great insight. But this is his area of expertise, you guys. This is area of expertise. I want to get his thoughts on this. You guys are always used to hearing me talk. I want you to hear someone that I look to as being almost as smart as me. He's smart. I would say this: Dre got way more wisdom than I do, right? He's been here a lot longer. He's seen a lot more. He's been a lot more places. And I absolutely cherish his wisdom. So a lot of people don't know that me and Dre went, and we're in the academy together. We went to the police department together. And so we share a lot of those experiences as well. And he definitely supports a lot behind the scenes. So I am going to bring him up, but let me give you a recap of what we're talking about tonight. I want you to hear from a well-known rapper, right? A well-known rapper, his thoughts on rap music, the same music that he himself creates. He speaks on, he talks about the killing of other Black men, right? Ops, whatever you want to call them, right? He talks about selling drugs. He talks about disrespecting women. He talks about abusing women. He talks about assaulting and killing other men. He talks about selling drugs, pushing drugs. He talks about gang behavior. He's in a gang himself, right? He's going to talk about all these things in his music. But then you're going to hear him in his own personal interview, his own little monologue, right? People are blaming him and others like him about the responsibilities they have for their platform, the words that they spit right out, the words that they sell to other kids who are listening to this music that they themselves produce. He's going to say he's not responsible for it. He's going to tell you that his music is art. It's an art form, right? In so many ways, he's just a poet speaking lines, right? He say, I don't live this life. Though I act it out in music, it's not real. That's what he'll tell you. He's like, hey, I don't do drugs. I don't kill other black men and people. I don't go around and have this big drug enterprise. But that's what I talk about all the time in my music. Is he the problem? Is he the problem, or are the people the problem? The people who can't separate, right? Fakeness from reality. You can't separate the real from the fake. Are they the real problem? Are they the real problem? Are rappers just entertainers?
After making a speech at his back to Scrooge.
They saw, heard whatever they grew up.
Let me give you a backstory about 21 Savage. This is what happened, you guys. In Atlanta, there was a shooting. There was a shooting and some people got killed. And, you know, a lot of pressure, right? So what happened? 21 Savage came out and said, hey, all these young kids got killed. This was one day at the park here in Atlanta. This was like a month ago. What happened? 21 Savage starts to speak out. He's like, no, you guys stop all the gun violence. This is ridiculous. No reason why these kids should be getting killed out here. What are y'all doing? So people looked at him like, hold on, bro. You the one who talks about killing people all the time in your music. You the one who talks, sir, you the one who promotes gang violence in your music. And then you come out here in front of the news and tell people to stop the violence? Sir, you're a hypocrite. You're an absolute hypocrite. Hell, your name is 21 Savage. Sir, a savage of what? You talk about death, sex, and murder and mayhem, drugs and violence in your music. I don't think there's one track of music I've heard from him where someone wasn't getting shot. So for you to come out here now and then make a video talking about please stop the violence. So we're going to hear what he has to say. We're going to hear what he has to say. Before that, let me drop this real quick so I can bring Dre up because I want Dre to speak on this. Dre, I got a link hitting you up. Got a link hitting you up. You guys, if you're not familiar with 21 Savage, someone said 21 got a hit record called Brand New Draco. Yeah, you guys, and Draco's a gun. You know, he talks about that all the time. I want to watch this with Dre because I want Dre to get his breakdown. I think Dre may have already seen this, but listen, you guys. Before I get into that, before I bring Dre up, let me jump on this super chat before we get too crazy in here. Because I promise you. Bruh man from the fifth flow. You guys, listen, if you guys Bruh man with the $5 super chat says, here's a little something for the fifth flow to get you started. Yes, let's get it started. Bruh man hit us with the first super chat to get us started. Listen, you guys, I love Bruh man. He came in right on time. What's good, Michi? Mm-hmm. That's my number one right there. Shout out to you, Michi. We are having a conversation tonight. Well-needed conversation. Looking forward to your feedback on this too. I'm curious to see what you think. Where's Snuggle at? Did Snuggle in the chat? Shout out to Snuggles. I haven't seen Snuggles over here in a minute. Shout out to T. Halding. He says he wouldn't sell a record if he didn't rap about sex, money, and murder. This is true. We got to talk about that. You know, some of our greatest and brightest intellectual rappers, I know some great ones. They're, you know, they call them, what do they call them? Under, they're like below, I forgot what they call them. They're kind of like underground, right? There's some phenomenal underground rappers who are absolutely killing the game, but they're not getting that recognition, right? They don't get that recognition, and there's a lot of reasons to that. But you're absolutely correct. This is what we are asking for. This is what we are consuming, and therefore that's what these rappers are rapping about. You have some that are in real gangs, you have some that are not in gangs at all, and you have some that pretend to be gang members in order to seek validation, to feel like they belong, right? That's why in the picture I had to throw 6ix9ine up there, right? 6ix9ine was never a real gang member, but he needed to become one in order to help boost his rap career, right? So this is what we're doing when we're talking about influence. We're creating this environment where our youth feel like they have to become something they're not, become something they really don't believe in. They have to become something they know nothing about, and we're not raised to be simply to fit in, right? Simply to fit in. We can talk about all the whys, the whats, and where it came from. The reality is this is what they're doing, right? We have gangs, kids creating gangs at early as elementary to middle school. You guys, it's bad. Shout out to you, T. Holland, for the super chat. Miss Carter, Lisa Carter, shout out to you for the super sticker. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. You guys, listen, Dre is going to destroy this stream. So let me just get all this out the way before I bring him up. Let me get all this out the way, and I'm gonna just let him do what he does best, you guys. Dre the Jeweler, right? How you want to call it, Dre the Jeweler. We're gonna have a good conversation tonight, you guys, and we're gonna dive into some spiritual stuff too, right? In reference to this, I definitely got to touch on some of that, the correlation with all this stuff going on, the power of words. I say it all the time. A lot of people like to shy away from it, but you know, this stuff is real, right? So shout out to you, Lisa. Shout out to everybody. Bro man from the 5th floor, I really appreciate you guys. Bro man came up on that classic episode stream we did. If y'all missed it, I'm sorry for it, but it was that episode we did where these kids were jumping from the 5th floor of the parking garage and out here in Atlanta on some foolishness. We might have to run that episode back. That was a good episode. So where are we at? Dre, listen, without further ado, you guys, let me introduce, you know, he ain't been up in a minute. You know, we've been all over the place. Let me introduce you to my good friend of mine, long time friend, right? Co-worker and brother in arms, right? This is, without further ado, you guys, Dre dropping gems. Jenkins.
Hey, you see my new drip? You like my drip?
I see the drip. Yo, Dre rocking the apparel. That's what's up. Listen, you guys, I have some photo shoots, not photo shoots, but I have some people who've been doing some great photo work. We're going to be promoting the gear on the channel. I got some nice gear for you guys that I will be promoting, especially from the nonprofit. Dre got his shirt recently, had to drop him off a couple items. So I appreciate you, bro, rocking it. A lot of people haven't seen. We got some good stuff coming out, man. Dre, how you feeling, bro?
Feeling pretty good. No complaints, big dog. No complaints.
Hey, listen, man. This is going to be a very, very, very good conversation. Necessary one for us to have. And like you said, man, you were the perfect one to speak on it. Here's my plans for tonight. I want to show this video with 21 Savage, and I definitely want you to just, you know, do what you do. Because this right here speaks volumes and it needs to be addressed. And I'm curious to know what the chat thinks. So we're going to dive into it.
Well, before you even go there, let me just give my credentials so everybody knows where I'm coming from.
Facts. Do you think?
All right. I'm a state certified gang investigator. I was a member of the gang unit for several years for the department that Nathan and I used to work for. Made a lot of gang cases, and what I'm gonna do tonight is pretty much explain to you what goes into creating a gang case and why 21 Savage is taking the position he's taking once we hear this video. Because if you understand what's going on, it's very strategic to what he's saying and why he's saying it.
Facts. Let me tell you, you guys, this is going to be a perfect conversation, and Dre is definitely the most qualified to have it. Let's go ahead and appreciate you, Dre, for dropping that. Here we go. We got 21 Savage. Before we get into yeah, let's do 21 Savage first. Here we go. Let me see how I want to set the screen up with this here. And here we go.
Grew up around whatever they went thought.
21 Savage responds to backlash after making a speech at his Back to School drive.
Like I thought artists went through whatever they went through, grew up around whatever they grew up around, saw whatever they saw, heard whatever they heard, and went and made music based off of that. But when I say something about how I really feel about Atlanta, like where I'm from, it's like a lot of feelings and shit going on. And I ain't never seen nothing like this. Like my whole life being in Atlanta, I ain't never seen it at this point that it's at right now. Like babies getting, and that's just sad. That make me depressed. But when I speak up on that, they say, "Oh, you a hypocrite. You this, you that, you."
Woo.
I ain't never promoted violence. I just rap about what I've been through, what I've heard about, what I've saw. That ain't me promoting violence. That's not me saying, yeah, violence is cool or whatever. Yeah, I say a lot of shit on songs. It's catchy. People like it. If I started making music about Jesus Christ and turkey drives and like that, how many fans would I have? Zero. How would I be able to feed my family rapping if I was rapping about that type of?
All right. Let me pause it there. He kind of just told on himself, right? Dre, he basically said, what are your thoughts? They call him a hypocrite. He's mad. And then he says, well, if I'm rapping about Jesus and saving lives and giving out turkeys, who's gonna listen to my music?
Well, he's pretty much telling you that he's in it for the money, and he's plausible deniability. Hey, I'm just rapping what I went through. I'm not responsible for what people do based upon the lyrics that I put out there. I'm just an innocent person trying to make a living. If I rapped about Jesus, nobody will listen to my music. How do you know? But you feel comfortable destroying your community by putting out this vitriol in reference to violence and idolizing and pedestalizing the violence that you were part of as being a member of a gang. But you can't take a step back. I know a lot about 21 Savage. I know a lot about what he's into. I know a lot about what he does. I'm not going to put his shit out there. But this is the individual, not the gang member speaking. This is the look, I don't want anything to come with what I'm putting out there because I'm just a businessman. I am a entertainer that is just trying to make a living to feed my family. That's why he's taking that take. If you took any other take, then when I go into what is a gang and explain how everyone and anyone can get caught up with a gang charge, then you'll understand why he's taking that stance.
That's true, because now he wants to disassociate himself as much as possible from that. We want to dissociate. Shout out to Candid Ann. Caping for Nathan, just showing some love for all that you do. Thank you so much, Candid Ann. I haven't seen you in a minute. Thank you so much for this amazing super chat, my dear. Thank you. Yeah, I love talking to Candid Ann. We're always usually kind of on the same page with a lot of these issues that we talk about, a lot of these social issues and social problems. And so thank you so much, my dear. I really appreciate that. I think he is trying to distance himself, right? People call him a hypocrite. You hear this often when someone starts talking about rap music and all that, like, oh yeah, I'm a rapper, I talk about this, but that's not the life that I live. Are they just delusional and thinking that there's no influence in their music? Because this is kind of what it's starting to come off as. Do they not realize that kids and young adults and even older grown adults are emulating themselves, or what would you call it? It resonates with them. It resonates with real gang members and people who are not gang members.
But what you also understand, they're not delusional at all. I'm
Right.
telling you, when you sit down and have all right, I'm putting it like this, and I'm just gonna put this out there. Gang members and gangs do not consider themselves to be gangs. They consider themselves to be organizations. Okay. That's
Mm,
why the FBI is always involved with gangs, because they consider themselves to be an organization and they thrive on respect. They're big on respect. They want to be respected as an organization. So when you hear 21 Savage talking about like, hey, you know, I just rap, it's not that he is being delusional. He fully understands the nomenclature of the gang act and what it entails, especially living here in Georgia. So
right.
everything he's saying is primarily like, look, I'm trying to save my ass because I know that I can be attached to every single crime that somebody committed that is similar to the lyrics that I put out in my records.
Hmm. Hmm. Talk to them about that too, real quick, Dre. Before we get further in this video, well, matter of fact, let's save it for the. I have a video I want to pull up in reference to what happened recently about the video I did recently about the 26 indictment. Then
Mm-hmm.
I want you to break down the gang law and then also how the Rico piece works from an organization standpoint. Let's
Okay.
finish up. Let's finish it that way. That way, people get a better understanding.
Okay.
Again, thank you so much, Candan. I really, really appreciate you, my dear. Shout out to you, and let's dive back into this craziness.
Like y'all gotta be realistic. Like a lot of y'all just be getting on here just writing comments just to like try and get likes and be cool and that shit be lame. Like it's a lot of young people who come from these environments we come from that found a way to feed their family and feed a lot of people in their communities and neighborhoods by making this type of music. So it's like, what would y'all rather? Would y'all rather all the young rappers, no matter what they rap about, would y'all rather them still be in the ghetto and get or go to jail? Cause y'all be saying like, oh, don't rap. You rap about this. Don't a couple back to school drives. Don't change like that's cap. I've been doing back to school drives. This was my 7th year doing it. Since the first year I dropped my mixtape. This is the truth. 2015 was the first year I ever dropped a mixtape. I didn't have a record deal. I ain't really even have a lot of money like that. And I threw a back to school drive that year, the first year that I started rapping. These is facts. So it ain't no all that shit y'all saying, whatever.
Yeah, I love the way mumble rap, mumble talk. Dre. Let me ask you this,
Right.
because he made a statement just not too long ago on this second piece. What are your thoughts when he says that people are mad that now you have kids in these communities who are finding a way to get out, right? They're finding a way out of the communities through rap. What are your thoughts on that comment, just in reference to, I guess you would say, just in general, the whole idea that, rap music is supposed to be a savior in a sense for Black people who are facing, I guess, who are living in poverty or maybe struggling in some of these inner cities. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I think I grew up in the early 70s and 80s when, we had rappers like Busy B. When I was going to school, I used to see, Boogie Down Productions meet up on, Jerome Avenue. So I fully understand where he's coming from in reference to an outlet that, it's the quick fix. I don't want a 9 to 5. I have a little bit of talent. I can put words together that, to some music. That is my way of getting out of the quote unquote ghetto, by record deal, not understanding the true nature of the music business, that you really don't make any money, in front of the mic. You're making money behind the mic, whether you're a distributor or whether you're you're the engineer on that panel. They think because a lot of that money, and when it comes to record deals, is it's kind of like being a drug dealer. It's it's on consignment. Well, I think that you're going to do this, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you this money here because I think you're going to be pretty good. And then you got to pay that, that record that you put out there has to make money to cover the money that the label is putting behind you.
Correct.
That's why you don't see the music videos anymore like it used to, because they're not pumping sales, because you have streaming services, you have independents, you have YouTube, you have what is that, TikTok, you have all these social medias where we could put out your music. That's how Logic got started. He got started putting his stuff out independently before he got signed by Def Jam. So you got to think about it. You're not making the same money as was, because anybody has access to your music.
Facts. Do you think, to me, it comes off, like you said, as an excuse to not wanting to do, granted, and obviously we're not discouraging people from being entertainers or rappers or things like that. But this whole idea that Black people or people in the inner city, or people who aspire to be rappers, it's almost as if he's trying to insinuate that they have no other option, right? It's like that stripper who's like, well, I gotta strip, I gotta prostitute to make a living. And it's like, no, you really don't. But again, I don't know, man. I hate hearing that. And to hear him say that just irritates me, because I feel like it constantly tries to show you're putting out this message that we're not good for anything else. We can't do anything else. We don't have any aspirations to do anything else. We're not creative enough to, like you said, what is everybody else doing? They're going to school. They're applying for jobs, right?
Well, it's a little bit deeper than that, because look at that when it even comes to sports. All right, why don't we have enough Black people in baseball? Because it's a longer road to get into that bag than it is to go through basketball and football.
I didn't know that.
You have to go, when you're a baseball player, you can get drafted out of high school, but if your skills aren't refined, you have to go through the minor league. You have to go through the whole system. You got to go through the farm system, and then you get called up. And even then, when you get called up, you're making like a couple $100,000, which is more than what you came in with, opposed to being drafted in the NFL and getting like $1 million contract if you're a first round pick. You're guaranteed millions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, so baseball is a longer route, and we want that quick. NBA, you get drafted, you getting money. You're a walk on, you're getting money. The minimum wage for an NFL player on an active roster is $485,000. So you think about it. Right now, we are, as a race, are so accustomed to being poor. We play the lottery, put all our money into lottery. We put all our money into rap. We put all our money into sports, because that's what we feel that is our way out of our current financial situation. Now, understanding without financial literacy and financial education, we're always going to be back in the same place we came once the money stopped.
That's true. Shout out to Mike Tyson. Shout out to MC Hammer. Shout out to right. I mean, the list goes on. Evander Holyfield. I mean, we name it. Okay, cool. Let me. But that's always been my thing. I always hate hearing people say that. I do, but not to dismiss the fact that there's, in these inner cities, that there needs to be some intervention. But the truth of the matter, there is a lot of intervention, right? You still have to take advantage. And from our perspective, the things that we have seen, a lot of the social issues, working in communities, and I worked in a middle class Black community, and the things that I saw were kids not listening to the parents wanting to do what they wanted to do, dropping out of school, going against authority, whether it's from a teacher, from a parent, from the police, right? And then they're saying, well, I'm gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna be an entertainer. So it's not that you just have these kids or these young adults whose odds are stacked against them. No, a lot of times they don't want to go the route that I guess you would say society or the norms of society are stating that everyone else has to follow, right? You get educated, you finish grade school, you apply for jobs, you apply for a trade, you go to school, go to a community college, go to a university. Like, these are things, I'm not saying you can't be outside of that. But from my experience, what I've seen from a lot of these young adults and young kids, they didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to do anything by the rules. They didn't want to do anything that was structured. They wanted to go down this route, this path of being in a gang or being a rapper or whatever, simply because it afforded them the freedom and a lack of accountability. But that's just from what I saw. Now I don't know, right? But I'm curious to know what other people think. But that's what I dealt with all the time. Every person that I came across with, well, I'm going to be a rapper. Sir, you still have responsibilities, though, right? There's still things as an adult, as a young man, that you still have to do. You can't live this lifestyle and think that there's not going to be consequences. I don't know what unapologetic is talking about. Unapologetic says, instead of assuming, you could have asked the young brother to come on. That discussion would be more productive. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. You got to be more. You got to be more clear, unapologetic. But if you're referring to 21 Savage, he ain't gonna come up here and have no conversation.
I will tell you this in reference to 21 Savage. I have and I don't want to sound Brandon Tatum-ish, but I have intimate knowledge about some of the stuff that 21 Savage has done for the gang. And I'm not going to say what gang he's in because I'm not trying to promote it and try to put it out there. But he has funded a lot of cases that's come through my office.
Right.
So with that, a lot of folks are always on the outside.
Yep.
Trying to, believe they know what's going on in the inside. It's a lot going on. And when we watch the video with Fonnie Willis and I break down what it is, you'll fully understand how just by never mind. We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right. Let me drop this. And then I'm gonna finish this piece, and I'm gonna go through the super chats. I see y'all.
That's cap. Like, I've been doing this. This is me, genuine. This is who I am. I love giving back. I just don't talk about it a lot. I don't send my good deeds that I do. I don't send them to the blogs to try and get liked cause of it, or try and get like attention. Like, oh, look what I'm doing. I do a lot of shit that y'all don't know about, cause that ain't what I do it for. I don't do it for recognition. I do it cause I want to. At the end of the day, y'all be saying all this. I'm gonna rap about whatever I want to rap about. At the end of the day, that's just what it is. No, it's everybody in the world ain't each other. It's a lot of going on, but it's not the whole world. And a lot of people listen to my music. So the small percentage of people that's and all this shit that y'all saying, why ain't the other 98% of the people that listen to my music each other if it's my music? That's all I want to know. If it's the what I'm rapping about, or what all these rappers is rapping about, is the reason why people are dying and young people are acting the way they acting, why ain't the whole world dead? Because the whole world listen to our music.
I mean, there's some validity to that statement. What are your thoughts on that, Dre?
He's correct. On certain aspects, he is correct. And I would never take anything from what he is saying. Where I'm coming from is, you just because you done food drives and you done and you went out there and you handed out turkeys for the holidays. That's a good deed. But are you doing that to win over the community so you can continue to do your stuff with impunity and have the protection of the community? Are you generally doing that in your heart because you generally want to make sure that folks in your community is fed? Because you have enough money to be able to buy some of these vacant buildings, you know what I'm saying, and create a center so these kids have somewhere to go to. You have the money for that. I'm sure the county will sit down there and work with you on that.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. It's kind of like Robin Hood: steal from the rich and give to the poor. You're still stealing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And any way you look at it, you're still committing a crime. Now, granted, in the eyes of the community, you're a savior. But it doesn't take away. It's no different from Lil Wayne. It's no different from 21 Savage. No different from Rick Ross. It's no different from Snoop Dogg. It's no different from Nipsey. You are who you are. This is the organization you align yourself with, and with that comes a lot of consequences. And
Right.
I will never forget where a gang member told me, he said, "I appreciate what you do, but I know you have a job to do, and we have the job to do. Your job is to catch us, and we're not going to make your job easy." And I handed him a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. I said, "Yo, I appreciate that. Just understand that this is going to be fun."
Facts. I wonder. He made a statement and he said, "Listen, at the end of the day, y'all are blaming me for the violence and all that and shootings." He's upset, right? He's upset. He's saying like, "Okay, how come I rap about this music? I got a lot of fans, and all my fans aren't killing each other, right?" Now, this is a nonsensical argument that he's making because he's missing the bigger picture, right? The bigger picture is that unfortunately there are kids that are influenced, that are easily influenced and manipulated by these lyrics. They hear his music. I was with my nephew one time and we're riding in the car and they're playing his music and they're repeating the stuff that he's saying. I'm like, oh yeah, we're not listening to this, And that's actually how I learned about 21 Savage, from my younger nephews. So they like his music. So if you have young kids who are listening to you, there's influence there. They're speaking words like, yeah, my pistol hits you, blah, blah, blah. And the bullet hits you in the forehead. Your brains flew out. Like, I get it, right? I get it. The problem is everybody's not mature enough to handle that type of music. When I was coming up, Dre, and you older than me, bless your heart, right? When we were coming up, the music had ratings on it, right? The music had ratings. You could not, I could not go and purchase that music. There was a way to censor the music. There was a way to censor a lot of these things. Now you cannot censor stuff anymore. There's really no point in censoring. Kids have access to so much. So one could argue that is it really the artist's fault? Some people say it should be the parents' problem and responsibility. In a world that we live in now, what used to be wrong, what used to be considered bad, what used to be considered evil is now looked at as being good, looked at as being okay, right? We're living in a world that's completely upside down. And so I would say the kids of today aren't afforded the same protections of the kids of yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. Well, as you astutely brought out, that yes, I am older than you, and yes, I remember a time where you couldn't say bitch on TV,
That's right.
and women couldn't show their belly buttons on TV.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
Rap was, when I grew up, when rap was coming out, it was banned. They never thought, if they thought it was a fad. Now understand that rap actually stemmed from scat music,
Mm,
and when it comes down to it, you're still responsible for the lyrics, because when I grew up, you had KRS-One, you had Busy B, you had who else? You had Cool Herc on the DJs, and they was putting stuff out there.
right.
African Bombada, was always talking about self-improvement before he started, doing the illegal stuff. So it was a different time. And we weren't exposed to the same things. And the FCC have changed so much, because you couldn't curse on the airways. Now folks are cursing with impunity. They
Yep.
send in the N-word with impunity. You know what I'm saying? And you talked about responsibility. It's a collective responsibility. You're responsible for what comes out your mouth. Parents are responsible for what their children listen to and what they're exposed to. And
Mm,
record labels are out to make money. So when you sell your soul to the devil for $1, you are responsible for what you are putting out there. There's no plausible deniability, because listen, Nathan, you know me, you know who I roll with, my circles. I've listened and heard to A&Rs like, look, you need to be doing this. This is what we're promoting. We're not promoting this. This is what we're promoting. So you
right.
need to go ahead and fix this. All right, we're paying for studio time. Get in there and fix these lyrics.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So in a way, the reason why 21 Savage said, well, if I was sitting out here talking about Jesus, Nobody listen because nobody's gonna promote your music. The A&Rs and the record labels aren't gonna promote your music.
Right.
So he is 100% right in that aspect. But at the end of the day, you still have a responsibility as an artist to put out the best version of yourself because you have children yourself. So when you're sitting up there like, Papa used to be a rapper, are you going to play these lyrics for your kids? Do you feel comfortable doing that?
Right. Right. I think Cardi B the one who said that her kids can't listen to her music.
Sure was.
And so, and the thing to me is just like, how selfish is that? Right? How selfish is that? There's no in our community, it seems like there's a lack of collective responsibility. Right. And to me, collective responsibility is like you said, hey, these words are not healthy for other people who look like me to digest and mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, right? It's unhealthy. It's just irresponsible, man. But when you don't care about any of that, again, like you said, when you care more about the money, because the record labels, they want to support, they want to fund, they want to back whatever's going to make money. But if there's no audience for this type of music, then they will change, right? So they have to have a consumer base. Someone has to want to consume this product for it to be valuable to a record label. So, it's a double-edged sword, right? We're complaining about the outcome, yet we're still supporting the material.
And that's the thing. Like, look at it. R. Kelly, very talented man, but had some demons he had to contend with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew that. But how many people boycotted his music knowing, what he was into? No one.
Right.
It sounded good. Folks talked about it, but it was never implemented.
Right.
So when you look at the overall, folks right now, we're herd society. We look towards the shepherd for guidance, and they're sitting up there just guiding us in the wrong direction. But we are not cognizant enough to be able to say, like, hello, this is not where I want to go, and I'm gonna have to be my own shepherd and shepherd my flock in my house in the way in which I want to raise them.
Correct.
We are so adept to let society raise our kids, television raise our kids, video games raise our kids, and then when they get in trouble, we're quick to pass the buck to, well, the video games is not my fault. It's mental illness. Is this, that, the other.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, you're the parent. Nothing can be said or done without your say so. You're the parent. So you are responsible. And that's the thing. We are so quick to pass the buck.
This is true.
And it's like, I would like in one of the chats, like, am I supposed to say alleged? I'll say alleged when it's alleged. But it's facts. I'm going to speak on facts.
Yeah.
When it's documented, it's not alleged.
There you go.
And when I speak on it, when I'm talking about like cases that I have been directly involved, that has been news based, that I have full knowledge of. I listen to jail calls. I'm in the know to say that. So when you hear me say alleged, it's because maybe that case that has not been adjudicated and is an active investigation going on. But if I am talking directly, the case has been adjudicated and is based on evidence that has come out to be fact. So I'm just going to put that out there. So in case anybody wants to know if I'm grasping at straws or I'm assuming, I'm speaking strictly on facts.
There we go. Let me before we dive back in there, let's put it on subscriber only. We got some clowns putting, they like to spam the chat. Before we dive in back into it, let me hold on. T. Holland says rap music is a major influence for our youth, undeveloped minds. And I think that's the key, right? The key is that we're specifically talking. A lot of people like to conflate, like, well, you got other ethnic groups. They don't respond the same way. Well, I think a lot of that has to do with they have a very strong cultural base, right? And entertainment music doesn't necessarily penetrate through their cultural responsibilities to one another. I think within the Black community here in America, we're just, a lot of us are very susceptible to what we see in marketing and advertising. We're easily influenced. I mean, hell, they have there's been a lot of psychological warfare that's been done on Black people, right? And so we're very susceptible to programming, audio and visual programming, i.e. marketing. And so all these things are a form of marketing, and it's a very, very easy way to indoctrinate and condition people into a certain mindset, behavior, and a belief. So T Halding, shout out to you again for this super chat. Thank you so much. He's absolutely correct. I think a lot of times people try to compare different groups and say, well, you know, white people listen to it too. You don't see them picking up guns and doing drive-bys, right? And
yeah, they are.
So, but the thing though, the thing that's interesting about that is what we tend to look at and what's shown to us will give people the impression, right?
Right.
That we are all different. And the reality is we are all human. We are all human at the end of the day. And there's no exclusive violent behavior that one does over the other. White, Black, Asian, Hispanic, and others, mixed or not, we all do the exact same things, right? And I think there's a misconception of that. You know, we talk about that all the time on this channel. And I have a video that I'm gonna drop tomorrow, call it the White People 2 video. You know, I'm gonna do that as a new segment I'm gonna add on. Shout out to Daughter of Yah. Thank you so much for the super sticker, my dear. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wonder, Dre, when it comes to it at the end of the day, right? Why is the music so influential? In your opinion?
It glorifies a life that, like when I was growing up, you know, I grew up in the South Bronx. You know, they were burning down apartment buildings. So when we heard, you know, Houdini, and we heard Kumo D, and we heard, Funky 4 plus one more. We start hearing them. We can relate to the stuff that they were putting out there because we were seeing it every day.
Right.
The difference is that the parents of my generation want to make a concerted effort that their children would not grow up the same way they did. Right.
Right.
So now you have children who don't see this life now idolizing it because they live in a 3,000 square foot house.
Right.
You know, and they can't relate, but they want to relate because they attribute poverty with being Black. And they don't, the fact that they live in the suburbs, when I won't even call myself naive, but I would say the naive me, when my daughter's born, I was like, look, when you get a certain age, I'm gonna take you to the middle of Times Square, drop you off with a map and a subway token. You're gonna have to find your way home.
Right.
Because I thought that would validate her and give her some street smarts and some sense. Right. Not understanding that here I am, abusing my child by telling her that I'm gonna drop her somewhere that she's never been before, and tell it because when I was riding the trains by myself, going from the Bronx to Manhattan to my grandparents' house by myself at 9 years old.
Yeah.
It's normal for me, but these kids are built different because we coddle them. They feel entitled. So when it comes down to it, and you handle burglary cases just like I have, where you have these children who, live in some bomb ass homes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember asking one parent, like, look, hey, yo, you got a big ass bathtub. You mind if I come over here and just soak in your tub for a minute? Because there's like a pool in this shit.
Yep.
But yeah, their son got a fucking 50-inch flat screen TV from the neighbor's house.
There you go. Talk about it. Talk about it. Before you go further, I think people may have missed that, right? And this is why I say people like to tell me crime is poverty, poverty, poverty. I say, no, it's not. It's mindset, mentality. You know, I've arrested more violent offenders, more criminals who were middle class, who had no justification to do the things that they did. Right. There's no justification to rob, kill, steal anyways. Right. But there was no, I got to put food on the table. It wasn't a situation where they're dirt poor, struggling, trying to make ends meet. Never, dude. Never, absolutely never have I arrested, and I've arrested a lot of people. So when people hit me with this, poor people are criminals, I say, no, that's not true. That's false. That's grossly inaccurate.
Well, truth be told, poor people are actually. I always used to when I was in college. I was a psych major. I did my first experimental psych. I did an experiment on, um, you know, cognitive. It was a cognitive test. But I asked folks, would you rather be rich and in debt or poor and debt free? You'd be amazed at how many folks will say poor and debt free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we attribute being poor with being black that folks don't understand. That's like that is not a badge of honor to say that, hey, I grew up poor.
Right.
Because if you had it to do all over again, you wouldn't want to be exposed to that. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up different. I grew up in New York, where when I say folks, was making like $100,000, but still living in the projects.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I was poor. I thought, because I couldn't do certain programs because my parents made too much money.
That's right.
But I still lived in the South Bronx.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For those who I lived in the hybrids section of the Bronx. So if you've seen the movie Joker, them stairs, I had to walk them stairs to go to school.
Oh, the stairs he was dropping down?
Yeah, the one he was dancing on.
Yeah.
Bruh.
That's a workout.
So, when you look at that, you look back, and I even took my daughter. I was like, look, I had to walk to school. I'm not that parent. Like, I had to walk through the school 4 miles in the snow. I'm like, no, we're gonna walk to my school, and you're gonna have to see what I went through. And my oldest daughter was like, damn. I'm like, yes. There's no bus. There was no school buses. There was no, no public transportation for me to go to school. I had to walk. So we are different. We were bullied in school. Everybody got bullied. Even the bullies got bullied. So there was no safe haven. The teachers bullied you. You came to school dressed messed up. Yo, they joned you. You know what I'm saying? It was on you. So we have coddled our children to the point where they are so sensitive that they are seeking an identity that we, they're rebelling from what we feel they should be. Like, who are we to dictate where their life go? Okay.
Right.
Our job is to provide, teach them, give them some morals, teach them how, give them some financial knowledge, and, guide them and be as advisors to them. But sometimes the streets call them. Sometimes, they view that word no as a curse word, opposed to like, yo, there's a power behind the word no. There's a reason why I'm telling you no. I'm not telling you no because I don't think you deserve it. I'm telling you no because I don't think you will appreciate it by how you receive it.
Right.
And when you start telling your children no, and they have friends, like I had to check one of my 10-year-old daughter's friend. Like, look, she can't do Roblox. Roblox, has a chat, and they up there, they are targeting little girls on Roblox. They told my daughter, don't worry about your dad. Go ahead and download that back.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked my dad, like, who are you afraid of, them or me?
Right.
You. So why would you listen to them? But the fact is that children no longer have fear because the parents are not in their homes. There's not enough fathers in good situations to where they can sit down and dictate what goes on in their children's lives.
That's true.
So, and I'm not going to say that they're deadbeat. I'm not going to say it. It's just that they may have met the wrong woman. The woman met the wrong man. However you want to put it, the situation is not ideal for these children to be able to cultivate and be able to live functionally.
Correct.
Now they're dealing with trauma of the neighborhood because their moms aren't making any money. So they're living in the hood and thinking this is how people live.
Right.
Everybody lives this. It's like a bubble. I thought everybody lived like New Yorkers did till I actually left New York. I didn't know. I thought New York was the center of the world growing up till I actually left. Not even left the borough, left the entire city. That's when I was like, okay, all right. And it gives you perspective. It gives you an understanding that everybody don't live like you do. You are actually privileged.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You
And
know, I had a color TV. I've been to a friend's house who didn't have color TV. They still had black and white TVs, or they had that floor module that didn't work when that little box TV on top with the hanger coming out.
you know, it's funny you say that because I think oftentimes we hear them say that. Oftentimes that I couldn't get out the hood, right? I couldn't get out. This is all. That's all that's here. It kind of reminds me of people. If you guys haven't watched the the Fresh Prince remake, a lot of that is said in there about his life growing up in Philadelphia and just how he felt like he had to be here. This is all they had. Yet there's a whole country, right? There's a whole world outside of this little ass city of Philadelphia. But there, you know, people are being conditioned to believe that their block, their neighborhood is something for them to die over. And that's the sad part. Let me run back to this one here. Let me see this guy.
I really want like somebody, whoever disagree with what I'm saying, can somebody tell me why? It's like, why is it only a couple of people doing this? If it's if it's our rap music and what we rap about is the reason and all this shit, why ain't everybody else there who listen to the music? So it's like, what do y'all want me to sit back and not say nothing? Do y'all want me to not express how I really feel about what's going on and where I'm from? Like, I don't be understanding it, bro. I be lost. Like, y'all really just be talking, bro. At the end of the day, I've been through a lot, seen a lot, and I used all my pain and trauma. I found a way to turn it into fuel, and it motivated me to make a way for my family, and like, it wasn't no other way. I came to Atlanta when I was 6, turning 7. My mama ain't never had a job because she ain't never had no Social Security. Nobody in my family never had a job. I couldn't go to college. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get a driver's license. And I found a way to get rich, or not even rich. I found a way to feed my family without doing nothing illegal. So I really don't give a f how nobody feel about what I rap about. At the end of the day, I can rap about whatever. But when it come down to what I do in real life, I give back. I look out for a lot of people. I take care of a lot of people. I help a lot of people. I try and partner up with a lot of people to help people. And I've been doing this since day one, since my first year rapping. This ain't no new shit that I'm just doing because I'm on some, nah, I've been doing this. This is me as a person. Like, anybody who knows me in real life will tell y'all this. I'm going to continue to rap how I want to rap and rap about what I want to rap about. That's like, nobody's going to stop me from doing that, period. Like, but all that kicking it like I can't speak on what's going on because of some shit that's in music, y'all don't do actors like that. Actors could get in a movie and the whole world and go hold a peace rally and y'all won't say shit. Video games, kids get on video games and kill 1 million people every day. Do y'all rally against in video games for making these video games?
Sure does.
Like, I don't get it, bro.
So I liked how he ended that with some very accurate statements that, okay, you got actors, you know, you got actors and you got video games. What are your thoughts on what he said, Dre, before I move forward from this video?
Oh, he's correct. You
Mm.
do have actors, you do have video games, especially like remember we used to say, man, folks think this is, you know, Grand Theft Auto in real life. Out here, you know, doing some wild stuff.
Right.
You know, I remember when New Jersey Drive came out. Folks, everybody now want to start stealing cars.
Mm.
You know, and not saying that, you know, stealing cars was just specific to Jersey, you know, to Newark. Shout out to anybody from Newark. But folks started emulating, like, oh man, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? What you have to understand is, yeah, you came in there, but just because you are rapping about there is a way to rap about. I give Ghostface Killer. Ghostface Killer from Wu-Tang rapped about where he came from. And you listen to his lyrics, he's not idolizing, pedalizing what he went through. He is, the way he documents it. You know what I'm saying? I think what song was All I Have Is You. Yo, he's just like, this is where I come from. There's nothing in his lyrics that's going to make anybody run out there to adopt a kid that had two brothers that have muscular dystrophy.
Right.
And if you live in Atlanta, you born and raised in Atlanta, hey, don't take this the wrong way. I'm just going to tell you how I got it when I moved here. All right. When I grew up with rap, everything was about lyrics. You know, beats really wasn't that important. What you had to say was very important. You know what I'm saying? And wordsmiths, lyricists, you know what I'm saying? We just like, who's the best lyricist? You know, when I moved to Atlanta, all they cared about the beat. They never listened to the lyrics and what was coming out. And I realized that now when, you know, my daughter finds a new song she likes, she was like, Dad, I want you to listen to it. And I listen to it. I'm like, oh, hell no. Well, why not? I said, the beat is nice. I said, but are you listening to what they're saying?
Right.
No. Why not? Like, look, she introduced me to a song where it's like, all my friends are toxic.
Yeah.
The beat is hot, but I'm like, are you listening to what they're saying?
Right.
You need to pay attention to the lyrics.
Yep.
Okay. Like, and I'm just like, down here, the hot beat, boom, but they're not listening to what it's saying.
Correct.
Can I dance to it?
Correct.
Is what the question is.
Correct.
But then they're reciting the lyrics, but not listening to what they're reciting.
That's right.
So, and I'm not saying folks are naive, but it's like, if I don't pay attention to what is actually being said, I'm not responsible for the lyrics that I'm reciting.
That's right.
And it's just, to me, truth be told, it's really, I can't say this irritating, because I've been there. You know, Slip Rick used to live right down the street from me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I used to see his ass every day. And D Nice, you know, grew up near me. I grew up in the South Bronx during the time when rap was like booming with KRS-One and everybody.
Right.
You know, went to 166. I grew up in a kind of fly time in New York, in the Bronx. Right. But understanding where I came from and understanding how I grew up, there's no doubt in my mind that I thought that everybody grew up like I did. I did not. I was not that naive. But as adults, for us to sit down and say that lyrics doesn't have anything to do with influencing children, that is irresponsible as a parent.
Right. No, I agree 100%. I think we don't understand the power of the mind. A lot of people don't understand how powerful the mind is and the power of words, especially when you recite them over and over again. My nephew had a song I learned about. It was "Push Me to the Edge, All My Friends Are Dead," right? And that is that lyric comes from Lil Uzi Vert. Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead. But when you listen to it, the song is it has a lot of melodies in it, and you just find yourself, they're repeating it, but they're not processing what they're saying, to your point. So I kept hearing them repeating the same. You hear the whole song, but there's only maybe like 10 seconds that you actually ever really remember, which is the hook, right? I forgot how the song goes, but absolutely. Someone said casting spells. Absolutely. We're gonna talk about that. Before I get into that, I want to give another shout out to Daughter of Yah. Again, let me give a special shout out to Uncle Stu, the old man from the block. We got two New Yorkers in the chat. You know, Uncle Stu's from the great New York, the Apple. Says salute. It's easier to get a PhD than it is to go to the NBA and NFL. That is very true. He said you can make good money without a degree today than before. That's absolutely true too. You know, that's kind of one of the things that really bothers me, is that we're teaching these young kids, I think, that there's only one way to make money, right? And it's also this desire to have this fast lifestyle, right? Nobody wants to earn, nobody wants to build, nobody wants to grow. Everything has to be quick, everything has to be right now. And I think that's one of the biggest problems too, right? They see entertainment, they see sports as a fast way to make money.
Right.
And
Same thing
that
with music.
same thing with music. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to you, Uncle Stu. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. He is absolutely correct. Lisa with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. My dear, I really, really appreciate it. And special shout out to Anthony Davis. We got us a new member in the building. So you guys, please give a special shout out to Anthony. Listen, I don't have the fancy music and sound effects yet. But Anthony, thank you so much, and seeing you hanging out lately. Yeah. I see you hanging out on the videos and the streams, man. I'm so grateful to have you a part of the team, brother. So welcome. Please take a look at the catalog, man. I know you're definitely gonna like a lot of the material. Really appreciate this. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. And then Common Sense Expert, he's always dropping some gems. Said if rappers are going to be convicted for their lyrics, should gun manufacturers be held accountable for every gun-related crime? Dre, let me tackle that.
I say no, and I'm gonna tell you why I say no. So if you are a candy maker and you decide to make a candy bar, and folks like that resembles a gun, and folks take that candy bar, it doesn't matter how good it tastes, but it looks like a firearm, and they go ahead and start robbing people with your candy bar. Are you responsible for the candy bar? Or is the person who decides to use your tool for an edible treat as a weapon, do they have any responsibility? Because at the end of the day, the firearms don't kill people. People kill people with the firearms. So you can't take the responsibility from the folks that's actually paying to purchase the firearms to use it for nefarious deeds. So you have to, because if I'm in the business of creating firearms, I got contracts with the military, and I'm just, personal safety and personal defense. All I do is make the firearms. It's up to the manufacturer, it's up to the stores that are selling my product to make sure they properly vet the folks that they are selling my product to.
So with that logic though, Dre, and what Common Sense Expert is saying, it can't be the artist's fault. And we're not necessarily, let's be clear, right? Let's not blame the artist.
Yeah.
Let's say this. How about we take a look at it this way? If people are saying that the music is causing issues, why not as an artist you don't self-correct? That's my issue. Why as an artist you don't see it and say, okay, this is probably unhealthy? If they were to, for example, you have cigarettes. Cigarettes are like, hey, we're going to make these cigarettes for you. By the way, they cause cancer, right? People were saying when this whole thing found out about cigarettes, they said, hey, you got to warn people. You got to warn people. But we're not going to stop people from doing it. But just know that if you do enough of it, guess what? Your lungs are out of here, right? Now, if you are a cigarette maker and you're selling cigarettes to people, do you care more about making money and getting people addicted? Or do you care more about the safety and lifestyle and the health and the betterment and wellness of the people? And I think what this conversation, especially tonight, it's really a moral outcry and a moral argument that we are making. You're right. Honestly, at the end of the day, you cannot blame the artist. Their job is to make music. They're technically not responsible for what people do with said music. We can all agree on that. Now, we do agree that it's influential. We do agree it's having a negative impact. We can agree on that. The question is, where is the moral compass of the people who are making the music to then make the adjustment, right?
Right. Because look at it. My favorite song, and I am not ashamed to say that this is my favorite song, is M.O.B. Annie Up. I listen to that song.
Yeah.
I listen to that song when I work out. That's my jam. But it's a song about robbing folk. You know what I'm saying? It's a song about robbing folks. And if you listen to the lyrics, like it's hype. It's a hype. I mean, it's a hype song, but it's a song about robbing folks.
Right.
Now I have enough, I have enough common sense not to indulge, but I would listen. I was on YouTube watching this dude who does reactions to like rap songs, and 3 minutes, like I want to say 3 minutes, like a minute and a half in, he's like, man, I feel like I want to rob somebody.
Right.
And if you never heard it before, go play it, listen to it. I mean, there was a video short. This dude that played the song in his car was pretty much beating his son up. He was so hyped, grabbing his head. You know what I'm saying?
The song gets hyped. The song does get you hyped, though. I'm not gonna lie. I like that song myself. But again, you're talking about people who have a very strong mental base. King T brings up a really good point. Shout out to King T. He says, so from what you're saying, rap don't kill people, people kill people, which is true. What's the real problem? Huh?
Don't touch into that yet, because it goes into when you pull the Fonnie Willis video, because folks are going to have questions on how can she prosecute based on the lyrics.
All right, we'll say that. Let me save that because we're gonna dive into that right now, actually, because people are making some very good points. Rappers get convicted for crimes, not lyrics. That's very true. They get committed, but the lyrics are evidence that supports said crime.
Pookie and them about to get educated on some shit, and I'm telling you, our thought pattern are so limited to some aspects to the law. All right. And we think 2 + 2 is 4, but don't understand that 1 + 3 is 4 also. 2 are equally the same. So in your eyes, you're saying, rappers get arrested for, they don't get arrested for, their lyrics. They can, if their lyrics are promoting a mob mentality, which is pretty much, plaguing a city, county, state. If folks identify, all right, you're a rapper, right? MC Pookie and them. Your lyrics is fire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what? I identify with everything you're saying. I'm going to start me in a little hybrid gang. I'm going to throw some Crips, some Bloods, some GDs in there, and some Vice Lords. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to call ourselves the Pookies. And we're going to create our own little signs, and we're going to do our things, and we commit crimes, based on what Pookie and them is talking about. You have absolutely no responsibility as a rapper that I decided to do that. But I've said it before in another stream. What is the most important thing that your parents gave you that is the most valuable? That's the only thing you can take with you when you pass away. And it's the only thing that's in your possession that stands the test of time through infinity, that nobody will ever forget. You know what it is, Nathan? Your name. Your name is the most valuable thing you possess. And if the problem is, it's not that the rappers are, putting out lyrics, but you have people who are pretty much smudging their name and associating them with criminal activity, and they're not speaking up about it. They're receiving the benefits from the streets. The streets are giving a street cred based upon the knowledge that they're, the lyrics that they're putting out there, and they're financially benefiting from them. And they're not going to sit down and say, hold on. This is how I lived. You don't have to live how I lived. I am pretty much telling a story of how I made it.
Right.
You don't have to live like I did. I'm just letting you know that, look, it's possible. You could always spin it to a positive aspect for the community, but they're not. You have the streets that are committing crimes based on these lyrics and these rappers and identifying with them, and the rappers aren't speaking up to be like, hold up, I don't promote that.
All right.
Why? Like 21 Savage said, ain't nobody gonna buy my records if I do that.
Right. Right. And there lies the conundrum, right? So I think, and I don't want people to get us confused that we're saying that, unfortunately, our community is a lot of the youth and stuff is on life support. We're seeing a lot of these things being mimicked, from music, from lyrics, because, and this is what happens. I could pull up a video right here on YouTube and show you exactly what the problem is with this glorifying gang culture and all this kind of thing. And again, it just, what is the real issue? You know, what is the real issue? Shout out to Lois. I keep calling her Lois Lane. Shout out to Lane. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Phenomenal supporter, phenomenal member. Thank you so much, Miss Lane. I think, Dre, my concern is, let me pull up this this clip real quick. And I want, before we get into all this, let's clarify something really quick. The music artists, they make music, right? At the end of the day, self-accountability. Candidan, she said it clearly in the chat. People need to take personal accountability for their actions. We can't blame the candy manufacturer for your diabetes. She's absolutely correct, right? At some point, there has to be some self-agency. What we're saying is that we wish that that there are people in our community that have a platform, and that platform, with that platform comes great responsibility. Mm-hmm. I think in this conversation we're having, we wish they were more responsible with their platform. We know that you're free to do what you want. It's a free country. You can make music however you want, do what you want. We know that. What we're saying is, hey, be mindful what you say, because it's having a negative impact specifically on our community. So at what point do we want things to change, we want things to get better, but you never speak out against the violence. You don't speak out against what's bad. And then when you try to, they call you a hypocrite, because in your music, you talk about shooting and killing people. And so your music is a form of inspiration to some people. It's a form of conditioning. It's a form of educating. And you have young kids who actually think you live that lifestyle. They actually believe that you are a gun-toting, drug-selling gangster, right? You have people who will now, they then idolize you. The kids are idolizing you, and they want to be a gangster just like you. Mm-hmm. Now, whose fault is that they're idolizing these people? That's obviously, we have to go to family, parenting. But then when you look at the Black community, you look at the parenting issues within our community, you could see why some of these negative influence take root in a lot of these young kids, these young boys, these young girls. And so, you know, this is an effort to fix this problem or fix these issues. It's going to require those who have and those who have not, right? Those who have platforms and those who do not. So if you are an artist and you have a platform and you know that there's dysfunction within the community, it does help if you make music that's not toxic, right? I mean, is that fair to say? I mean, because again, and shout out to King T again. He said, true, but let's not blame music. No, we're not blaming music. We're not blaming anybody, right? We're just saying, can we be more responsible with how we push information out into our community, especially if we know our community is very susceptible to receiving this information and then mimicking, right? The issue is, if you start seeing people I don't know. Is that wrong?
No, I understand exactly what he's saying, but you have to understand that.
Michi says she blaming the damn music. It's like a collective. I'm saying, can we work together?
Yeah.
You know, we have issues with there's issues with our community with poverty, with education, with family structure, and then we got these people that are being idolized, though they might be acting it out, being killers, acting it out, being gangsters. We're asking them, hey, can you stop that? Can you chill on that? Because the young kids are trying to be like you, and we don't want them to be that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. What I'm saying might be controversial, might be profound. It all depends how you take it. We as a race are so hungry for a leader to guide us. And the fact that we are identifying with, like, even when we talk about our own relationships, we always talk about celebrities. We idolize celebrities. We want to live vicariously through them. We listen to, yo, I blame that too, for real.
I blame that too.
Yeah.
You want to shoot somebody in the traffic.
Right. But and that's the thing. Like, we can't police ourselves. We can't guide ourselves as much as we think and say that we can, we're cognizant of what's going on, and we can sit down there and we're adults, or we're young adults and we can sit down there and do right. We can't. We're looking for somebody to guide us. And unfortunately, we're looking for guidance in the wrong folks. And we give them the benefit of doubt and we protect them, not understanding that they're doing a lot of damage. Just because you're talented, when like Spider-Man, with great talent comes great responsibility.
Right.
You are responsible. This is no different from being a content creator on YouTube. You are responsible for the content that you put out. Because it can come back, believe it or not. We have a fine line when it comes to freedom of speech. What we can say and what we can't say, and what is viewed as criminal and what's not.
Right.
There's a reason why TLA says I'm not giving you any legal advice. There's a reason why I would never give you legal advice, because that can come back and make me susceptible to prosecution for anything that you have done. I am liable for whatever you do. And folks don't understand that there's a responsibility that comes with the stuff that come out your mouth.
Right.
And all it takes is for one person to commit a crime and said, I was listening to Pookie and them. Pookie and them told me, hey, his lyrics is fire, but Pookie and them told me to do this and this and this. Look at January 6th. All those folks said, I followed Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yep.
And 1 minute, I believe everything you said. I stand with you. But as soon as you get in trouble, he made me do it.
Right.
And this is what we have to understand. As police officers, when we respond to somebody, we tell a victim of a crime, go do this, that, and the other, and they do it, and they get charged, we get charged.
You know
what I'm saying? So it's no different from standing in the middle of a crowded stadium and screaming fire, and folks get killed by getting trampled because of what you said. You're responsible. And I think that's what folks don't understand. They're not putting two to two together. They think that I can say whatever I want, and it's going along my amendment rights of freedom of speech, and I'm not liable. No, you need to read that again. You are responsible for your actions, and if your actions perceive a mob mentality which commits crime, you are responsible and liable for inciting said crime.
There you go. And with that being said, let me drop this video real quick. This is in reference to the 26 indictments. I'm gonna play it, and then Dre, I'm gonna get your thoughts on it, and you can just go ahead and break it down for the people.
Adams met with a group of drill rap artists last night.
Oh no, this is something different. I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna play the other one.
He's criticized the music genre for contributing to the rising violence in the city.
But as CBS 2's Andrea Klein-Thomas explains, the mayor and the rappers were able to come to an agreement.
It's been a lot of talk about drill rap, drill music, New York City, connecting violence with the culture.
Late Tuesday evening, drill rappers met with Mayor Eric Adams, who's been critical of their music, saying it's causing a spike in violence. But Brooklyn rapper Bleezy says the meeting was productive.
And we got a chance to speak to him as brothers, as we should, and we got a perfect understanding of what's going on.
Drill rap came under renewed scrutiny after 18-year-old artist Jaquan McKinley's murder earlier this month, leading Mayor Adams to call for the music's removal from social media.
Violent people who are using drill rapping to post who they killed and then antagonize the people who they are going to kill is what the problem is.
People look at the videos or listen to the lyrics and stuff, it's going to be characterized as, talking about guns, talking about money, talking about...
But that's just with music, period, every genre.
While Bleezy admits some artists go too far.
If you ain't experienced poverty, you shouldn't even have your opinion on anybody moment.
Bleezy says he focuses on the hardships in Brownsville, adding addressing the real root of violence goes well beyond any lyrics.
The community is like, it's like, there's no hope, there's no opportunities. No, we just making music so we could get out of these places.
The meeting with Mayor Adams ended with a handshake. The mayor said that a new initiative in partnership with the rappers will be rolled out in a few days. Andrea Klein-Thomas, CBS 2 News.
Drill music in New York becoming obviously is definitely a problem. New York and Chicago, where for those who don't know, you're making music, and this is going to lead us into this next clip in reference to the indictment. But the drill rap music, you guys, who you laughing with? People, the chat be crazy. You're on mute, Dre. You're on mute.
I'm laughing at Michi.
Oh,
Michi said, make sure you got some money in her books.
Michi always. I'll put money in your books, Michi. Don't worry. I'll buy you out. So, so the thing is, the drill music is basically rappers rapping about other rappers or other people in the community that they've actually killed. They rap about it, how it went down, why they did it. They mock the person who died. They mock them in their lyrics. They threaten killing other people in their family. And so again, those lyrics are used as evidence to support the investigation all the way up until when charges are made. And so this is a thing that's constantly going on. It's going on in Chicago, New York, and it's even picking up overseas as well. But I'm gonna play this clip right here. This is what I need Dre to really speak on. And this is in reference to the 26 count indictment that happened the other day here in Atlanta, where it's more rappers, more gangs that have been pushed together and charged collectively under the Rico.
Tonight, we are diving deeper into a big story out of Fulton County. 26 alleged gang members now facing 220 charges for a host of crimes. And it appears the intricate web was untangled in part because of social media. Hope Ford joins us now, and Hope, you dug into that 94-page indictment released today.
Yeah, that's right. The DA's office says the suspects used social media to target their victims who flaunted wealth online. But it appears the suspects' own social media accounts contains evidence that may be their undoing.
Alleged gang members brought up on Rico charges by District Attorney Fonnie Willis. The suspects tied to a 6-year-old street gang called Drug Rich.
They use things like prescription bottles and money symbols, and this is in their jewelry and their tattoos, and we see that present here.
Those symbols include the letters RX and Monopoly symbols, and the DA's office used those symbols and the suspects' social media to tie each other together, saying it's proof they knew each other, conspired together, and promoted their enterprise online. Suspect Kenzel Walker, going by Clairvoyant on Facebook, holding money while wearing a Monopoly chain. Walker, one of the suspects accused of breaking into Mariah Carey's home. Alleged gang member Robert Gunter, posting a photo of him holding a gun, wearing an RX hat and chain. Gunter, accused of attempting to break into an Atlanta United player's home. It's this song posted on YouTube featuring suspect Taylon Barnes. The lyrics, sticking people up, how you think I got those kicks on my feet, and creeping in our back door, take your stuff, then I sell it to my big bros. A photo of Barnes on Instagram holding a gun and wearing jewelry with RX insignia. Barnes accused of attempted murder and burglary. This is just a snapshot of evidence pulled from social media accounts of the 26 suspects, but Willis believes it connects each suspect to each other and multiple crimes.
Rico is a tool that allows a prosecutor's office and law enforcement to tell the whole story. And so we use it as a tool so that they can have all the information they need to make a wise decision.
And the DA's office used similar evidence against Young Thug, Gunna, and members of the alleged YSL gang in the May indictment of the rappers and 25 others. Legal experts' opinions differed on whether rap lyrics can or cannot be used as strong proof of crimes.
What are your thoughts on that, Dre? Did you want me to play the full?
Nah, not in
any section of the press conference that she was in.
That's not necessary because let me lay this out first so folks understand. All right. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna touch on the definition of a gang. Okay.
All right, bet.
You need 3 or more members, like signs, colors, hand signs, verbiage, name. All right, to be a gang. Everyone says the police department's a gang. It is. I'm about to drop something on y'all. It is not illegal to be in a gang in the United States.
Blue Squad.
All right. It is illegal to commit crimes in the name of a gang. So when you tag, in order to get a gang prosecution, you have to create a nexus. You have to show that the gang is growing. They are committing deeds to furtherance in the gang. You have to show that that the proceeds from their criminal activity is going to funding the gang. You have to show that there was a big block party down in East Atlanta with a particular gang, and they had some rappers. I'm not gonna put the rapper's name out there. They all wore the same color. Police departments use that as identification. They use that as gang identification. FBI is involved. You remember, FBI only deals with organized crime. FBI has a task force called Safe Streets, which is responsible for gangs. Okay, identify gangs. And when you meet someone who's in a gang, they're not going to deny it. They're not going to say, no, because you got to be good on. First of all, you got to be good on the books. You got to pay your dues. If you're not, then things will. Okay, it's a business. It's no different from being in a fraternity, sorority. You got to pay dues. You got to pay your dues.
Yep.
And you can't commit a crime, make money, and pocket it. You have to bring it back because it pays for another gang member's legal fund. You laugh, I'm dead ass. And they don't get cheap attorneys.
No, they do not. Their attorneys be spot on, boy.
Look, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say his name, but one attorney. Look, I already said, look, if I ever got in trouble, you already know I'm hiring you.
Facts.
I got the dough. He's like, can you inform me? I said, yes, I can.
Yep.
I already know how much your retainer is. Trust me, I know. I listen to jail calls. I know what they paying you. I'm getting you. You know what I'm saying? And we have gone to battle in court many times. You know, he just won the last case, you know, I had against him. But, you know, hey. You win some, you lose some. But what you have to understand is if you are here's the thing with gangs, with the Gang Act. We're going to talk about the Gang Act here in Atlanta. Okay. In order for you to be charged of a gang act, you have to have a predicate crime, which means that if we can prove that you committed carjacking, armed robbery, home invasions, burglaries, in the name of a gang, then we can put the Gang Act on you, which is 10 years. The Gang Act gives you 10 years before you even see the particular charge. So if you did an armed robbery, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, aggravated assault, burglary. So what if you get a 5-charge indictment, throw another 5 for the Gang Act on top of that.
Put a little sauce on top.
Right. And it runs concurrent. That's why when you see on the news that gang members have been prosecuted, they get like 250 years plus 150 because the Gang Act. And they run consecutive, which means you have to do all that.
Explain to people the difference between consecutive and concurrent charges, so they understand. If you get charged, if you get 5 years for robbery, 10 years for gangs. Explain to them the difference between the consecutive and concurrent and the power of it and how. Yeah, go ahead.
Consecutive is before you even see this little 5 years you got, you need to rock with this 10.
Facts.
And you're gonna do every bit of 10 because in charging, you may get 20 years to serve 5. So you may actually serve 5 in prison, right? And then the rest was on probation. But with the Gang Act, before you even touch your charge, before you even touch it, you got to serve this time.
Yep.
Right. But when you have concurrent, meaning that I can get you for 200 years, but you can serve like 5, and for 200 years, you pretty much on life probation for life. You know what I'm saying? Which means that like you can't do shit. You can't even piss wrong. Or you got to serve the rest of your time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to conflict resolute in the hood to keep ourselves out of trouble and how to stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have a lot of unfavorable encounters with police officers, because I'm not going back to prison. Look, I just got out on a technicality. I'm not going back.
Right.
So when it comes to gangs, they fear that charge, because now when you have hybrid gangs, and what a hybrid gang is like your neighborhood gangs. You know, when I was growing up in New York, we had the Decepticons. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, look, I know you're gonna laugh, but that was a Brooklyn gang.
The Decepticons, huh?
You know, and you had different neighborhood gangs. You know, we have neighborhood. You know, we had regulators. You had different stuff in the neighborhoods. That was your neighborhood spots. But you had members of those neighborhood gangs that were a member of your more known gangs. You know, our police department was infiltrated by GDs. You know, we had a police officer that was a GD that got arrested for actually committing hits in the name of the gang. We had police officers that were providing security for drug dealers.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, we focus so much on white supremacy and you know, racist police officers. Well, we got gang members in there. You know, you have gang members as attorneys. You have gang members as doctors.
True.
You have KKK. You know, it's not a one-off. And what you have to understand is, when it comes, I mean, it's no different. I mean, if you really want to talk about it, doctors are really the biggest killers in the world than police officers. They kill more patients than police officers kill citizens.
Well, a lot of people, you know, some people don't like when we make that argument, which I agree, right? There's not a lot of discussion behind what the doctors do behind closed doors, but I will say
there's a reason why, and there's a reason why there's not, because you have to, the society have to trust the doctors that they're going to do what they're supposed to do, because there's a big difference between going under the knife and getting pulled over by a police officer. If you comply, you survive. When you're on that table, when you're on anesthesia, you have no control over anything. But when it comes to dealing with gang activity, is no different from any other crime. It's a crime of opportunity. We as citizens have to be smart, and it's unfortunate that, you know, if you got a quarter tank of gas and it's 12 o'clock, unfortunately, you're gonna have to limp home in that car and get gas in the morning. You don't need to be getting gas at midnight. I don't care how hard you are. You know, they just showed on the news the other day this dude getting pistol whipped in front of the gas station and getting his car stolen.
Yeah, gangs have always been, as it relates to just being a problem, it's always been an issue. And I think here in Atlanta specifically, when we talk about the gang problem, the fact that, you know, if we talk about the first Rico charge that she put out with YSL, she rounded up a lot of people behind that. When we talk about this particular indictment, 26 indictment, I think they have 18 in custody already. I think 5 or 6 are still at large. You know, that is a lot of people. And when you think that everybody's actions are like a network of actions, right? Each person is doing something. Each person is violating the law in some way, causing some type of issue in some way. But unfortunately, too, people get caught up. And in her statement, she said, listen, I will give you 100 plus 5. You'll do life plus 5. And that goes to what you're saying earlier. Everybody's going to get slapped with these charges because they're doing this as an organization. They're doing it as a group, as almost like a business. Yeah, the fallout. You might be the guy who was just supposed to drive people around. You probably never even shot anybody. You probably never even sold any drugs, but you are affiliated. You are a part, and you are going to get hit with the charge. And this first sweeping act gives them an opportunity to find out who is going to sing the best, who got the best vocal cords in the booth, right? That's what it really comes down to.
Because here's the thing. It shall be unlawful for any person to cause, encourage, solicit, recruit, coerce another to become a member of or associate of a criminal street gang, to participate in a criminal street gang or participate in criminal gang activity, which means that you don't even have to be a member of the gang. You just have to associate yourselves with them and just hang out with them while they're committing their crimes. Yep. And you're going to get charged the same thing they do. It is, listen, the gang charge is very, very in-depth. Very in-depth. There is no, and it covers everything. Now, here's the thing. So putting graffiti on the wall is a misdemeanor crime, right? But if you tagging gang symbols, that misdemeanor is now a felony. And it's a minimum, and you can get 2 years to serve 2 years in prison,
right,
for putting a diamond on a wall or a rabbit or a cocktail glass or putting a six star or a 5-pointed star. You have to understand, when you understand the full dynamics of gang-related crimes, the initiation process, whether you're getting jumped in, sexed in, robbed in, because a lot of times what they do is they bring that square with them who has no criminal record. That's and right. When they commit crimes. So you can't like, hey, you was with us. So if we go down, you go down. And once you go with them, you can't say, hey, my mom ain't letting me out. They ain't trying to hear that shit. You know, they burglarizing your own home. Like your parents, everybody knows parents like, hey, don't bring nobody in my house when I'm not home.
Correct.
And you
Correct.
come home and, you know, this is not like, you know, having suspects in your office after interviewing them. And the victim comes in like, yo, you was just in my house the other day. You were supposed to be playing video games with my son. But that's what it is.
And I don't think people realize, a lot of young kids don't realize how easy it is to get caught up and swept away and in gangs, right? You're a part of a gang, things seem real cute. You know, you're breaking into houses, you're breaking into you're robbing stores and things like that. But once they find that identifier, because she's going back, and some of these gangs started here in our county in DeKalb back in 2018, right? Some as early, you know, and so it was further back. I'm talking about this one. Did she say 2018 or did she say 2008?
You talking about no, this guy is 2018, but you know,
yeah,
changed their names like we changed our socks.
That's true too. Let me and you guys, I'm gonna start taking questions in a second. Let me get this super chat from Nelson Media with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Nelson. He says, loving this conversation, fam. Hope some solutions can come out of this. Whoo, are there solutions? Is the real question. I think at the end of the day, everything runs back to family, man. I think everything runs back to family, homes. King T said a village. Everything comes back to people coming together and being a source, a resource of love for one another. The thing about gangs, one of the common denominator that I've seen with gangs is one, broken families. These kids are coming, male and females are coming from broken families. They're coming from dysfunctional families. They're coming from foster families. Everything comes back. The core of everything is family, man. Everything is family. And so that's the only solution I know, the one that I know that works. And not to say that everybody who comes from a good family is going to have kids that are not going to be in gangs. No. But what I am saying, to greatly reduce the problem, we definitely, family is where it's at. And unfortunately, some of these kids I've dealt with, their parents or parent, they either had one parent, the parent was never home, the parent had no control, the parent had multiple kids by multiple fathers, and the fathers were absent. That's another thing, absent fathers. For whatever the reason, fathers aren't in the child's life. Like, all these things contribute to delinquencies of children, and dysfunction of households. And so it's very sad. I mean, honestly, I always say the root of it all, man, is a strong family and a strong village. Shout out to you, Shay. Shout out to you, Shay, for the super chat, my dear. Thank you so much.
I wanted to spell something that the Braves Club said.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. These gangs aren't all black. I'm just gonna tell you this 100. You have Burmese gangs. If you have a collective group of one particular race, there's going to be a gang. I've dealt with outlaw motorcycle gangs. I've dealt with the cartel. Look, I've been privy to some stuff that went on between outlaw motorcycle gangs and the cartel that'll have your head spinning. You have white people in some of the major gangs: Bloods, Crips, GD, Vice Lords, Trinitarios, MS-13, Brownside Locos, Nortenia, Serranios. I'm telling you, don't just think that this is for minorities. You have poor white people. They call them poor white trash, but you have no one is immune to being attracted to the pull of a gang.
Right.
And a lot of these gangs started in prison. You have the Aryan Nation, you have, the Nation in prison, you have the, guerrilla mafia, you have, it is all about segregation, protecting our own. And I mean, just look at why the Crips and the Bloods were created. It was because of corruption of police in the police in the neighborhoods. That's why they were created. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, crime stemmed from it.
Let me add this for the breakdown. I wasn't going to get into it, but since you mentioned it, let me bring it up real quick. Let's talk about. Oh yeah, let's not forget about the triads. They so low key though. They super low key.
And Yakuza.
And the Yakuza, yeah, super low key. They kind of remind you of like mafia. They're like mafia. They're truly real organized crime, right? Like they want to keep the bodies down to a minimum, right? They want to just focus on making money, but they are definitely a gang. So when it comes to the stats right here, this is according to youth.gov, you guys, youth.gov. They have a lot of statistics in reference to youth violence and youth crime and things of that nature. So gang violence, the data from 2 decades ago, so this might be a little old, but let's roll with it. Shows that gang members in the U.S. were 50% Hispanic or Latino. 50% of the gangs in the U.S. Hispanic or Latino. 32% African American, right? So out of all the gangs, 32% African American. 10% are white. Now, and 8% are other. Now, I don't know if they're how they are defining white gangs, right? But according to the data, they're saying 10% are white. I would like to. I'm curious to know what they constitute as a white gang, because technically KKK, you got like the Proud Boys, you got who else? Basically a lot of white militia groups, right? So to me, those all fall under gangs. They do commit violence. They are a group. They have symbols. They have handshakes. They got words. They got code names. They're sprinkled all throughout society. As we know, they are absolutely a gang, right? White militia groups are gang, biker gangs. So, but they are saying 10%. You know, what is the problem with that? Again, though, you guys, when we talk about these things in reference to percentages versus population size, if we look at, shout out to Saj said, Oath Keepers and 5%ers, absolutely. There's a lot of them. You guys seen the stream I did, Blue in the Hood, or what was it, Blue in the Hood? Something I did. I did a video on white militia groups. You guys, please go and check that out. It was a very, very good stream. I talked a lot about the different militia groups and also how many they are in this country and what states that they are in the most. And so white gangs are a real thing and they're a real problem too, right? So let me see what other data I have. And you guys, in the meantime, if you have any questions for Dre, anybody brave enough to challenge Dre, if they want to come up and have a conversation with Dre, you are more than happy. We're gonna roll out of here in probably about 30 minutes. But if you have any questions for Dre, if you're brave enough, I'm gonna throw this in the chat for the moderators. So the link is in the chat if you are interested. If you want to come up, if you have a question for Dre, please make it to a question. If you want to ask something direct, if you want to challenge him or something, or if you have a question for me, by all means. Now, Michi is off limits. No one can talk trash about Michi. That's
I went ahead and put the link to the gang charge in the chat, so folks can read it.
You guys check that link out. Dre dropped the link for the gang, some gang information. What else? Lastly, yeah. Any questions? If you have a direct question, you guys will pull the question up, put a Q in front of your question so I can pull it up on the screen and we'll answer. We'll take any questions. If you want to come up, if you're brave enough to challenge Dre, you shall come up and have your wits about you. I promise. Or let me see. We got the questions. Shout out to Miss Watchman. She just came up. Anthony Dunlap says, why don't black gangs take on a model of the triads mafias by being low key? Man, because they don't listen, bro. They don't listen. They don't. When I tell you, oh my God, I can't tell you. I've blue in the face trying to educate them, explain to them how to move different. Right. Again, like Dre said, being a gang is not illegal, but the stuff that you do, your behaviors make it illegal. I've tried to talk to them. I try to educate them. I try to, whatever I can. They don't listen, man. You have OGs, you have retired gang members who did time, spent half their life in prison, come out and be like, hey, youngins, this ain't the right way. hey, youngins, how about you do this? You know, we could have gang members protect their communities, do what they were intended for. They don't listen.
Matter of fact,
Anthony, I'm telling you, they do not listen. Dre, go ahead.
I have a gang story. So this young lady, very attractive young lady, wanted to be part of a particular gang. Got jumped in and sexed in, right? Vowed I'm never going to do it again. This one gang member who made a lieutenant knocked on her door, was like, yo, I'm trying to get some, I'm trying to get them cheeks. She was like, no. Her OG called her from prison. It's like, yo, you better bust it wide open for old boy or we'll come see you. She called us. We went down to the prison and spoke to the OG. And he's like, look, if I wanted that be dead, she'd be dead. I'm just trying to make sure the homie, he wanted her. She our property. I don't care what work she put in. If he wants to clap them cheeks, clap them cheeks. And all we said was like, look, stall her out. What y'all gonna do for me? Yes. We won't tell anybody that you got cell phones up in here because you communicated it. How about that? I let the homie know.
Yep. Explain to them how people in prison use their sisters, or gang members use their sisters or their girlfriends to provide sexual favors, like you said, for corrupt police officers and correctional officers in order to get stuff done in the prisons. A lot of people don't know that.
What they use is like, you have to be, if you're an asshole, but you're a consistent asshole, you'll be respected. But if you come in there telling people what to do and the next day you giving them a break, got them.
Yeah.
They're going to be friends. They're going to be cool with you. They're like, oh, you the cool one. And then they got you. Now they got you bringing stuff in. They got you bringing contraband in. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Because they like, yo, I can't risk my girl, getting caught up here, bringing a cell phone in her twat. You know what I'm saying? They watching me. So let me go get this CEO to go ahead and make it happen for me. And it's just, you have to understand is like, correction officers, police officers, they're human. They all have their financial issues. And you sit up there telling them like, yo, I'll make sure, they drop a little bag at your house, take care of, I know, listen, they do their homework.
Too. Yeah.
They do their homework. So they know when your credit bad, they know, they listen, they pay attention, and they play on that.
Yeah. So someone said prisoners going live on live stream. Yeah, they be live. They got connect. How they get service in there, man. But Anthony, that was a very, very good question. Because there's another issue too outside of that. There's this problem with a lot of the youth that don't want any sense of direction, or they don't want to hear any form of authority. They think they know it all. I can't tell you how many times I try to coach them off of a ledge, and, I've had talks with a lot of young kids, and then just to find out, maybe 2-3 years later, they're either killed or they're doing life right now in prison. I know guys right now that I've arrested, and they're in prison for armed robbery or part of a gang. They get swept up. They go out of state, commit a crime, and they're picked up. And, they don't listen, man. And it's sad because if they did and they were coachable, then you could steer them in the right direction. You could show them how to use that collective energy to do something more productive, right? And teach them, hey, you don't have to commit crimes to make money. There's so many other ways to where you guys can come together and do stuff and actually start a business. And hell, a protection service, I would think, you can get paid by the community to protect the community legit, right? Like you guys you got the time clearly, and they know how to collectively organize because they organize and commit crime. So they're very organized. They're structured. They might be stupid with what they do, but at the end of the day, they do know how to get stuff done because that's how they get paid. Let me bring up this question, Dre. I'm gonna let you tackle these. Any questions you guys have, put a Q in front of it. If you're brave enough to come up, then I'll bring you up. I see Dub Will in the back. Dub, I'm gonna bring you up. Give me 1 second. Let me let Dre hit this question real quick. How will the Fulton County DA convince a jury that they had YSL under investigation for 10 years and allowed them to rack up 50 bodies. Woo!
Oh, that's very easy. That is very easy. Because you don't have to convince a jury that they allowed, because they have been arrested. It's not like they've been committing crimes with impunity.
That is true too.
What you're doing is, it's like, when we tell folks to take out a police report, and it's not just, it's a paper trail. So if you have, all right, when you pull up someone's criminal history, they're called cycles, right? And you have some of these folks that have like 32-page cycles, which means they have 32 cycles, which means that each cycle is a different date and charge. So you have to show a history of criminal activity, arrest, criminal activity, arrest. The reason why the federal government is involved and because what you have to understand is, if you are a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, it is not only a state offense, it is also a federal offense. If you are being convicted of a domestic violence charge, family violence battery, when you plead or you are found guilty, you have to give up all your firearms. Regardless if you did your time and you're out, you could no longer own a firearm. If you walk around with just a bullet, you can be charged federally for that bullet. If you have more than one bullet, I'm gonna tell you how petty the federal government is.
Super
You
petty.
get charged with the firearm, and each round that you have in that firearm is time. You know what I'm saying? So it gets real nuanced to the charging practices of it, and you don't have to go to a country club. They could send you to the worst federal prisons out there. So to answer your question, really, to answer your question, common sense, they be under investigation, but folks, a lot of times you can't, it's real hard to fill in the blanks. You know something. It's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove.
Yep.
And once you're able to prove it, is when you start seeing the indictments of it.
That's true.
Because go ahead, Nate.
I was gonna say, just to add on to that, to what Dre is saying, is that what ends up happening is sometimes you see all the crime, but you don't see how connected it is to a larger group. And that's what ends up happening with YSL. When they had their situation, you had the incident with Lil Wayne's tour bus being shot up. So in that very moment when it's being investigated, it looked like it was just a beef between two people, right? And then so that's how it's reported. You did you did your research, you investigate, then you arrested the people involved, and then it's like that's it. Well, then 3 years later, you arrest somebody else, and then you find out from that arrest and that investigation that they are friends with the person who shot up the tour bus that Lil Wayne was in. Then you find out that someone hired them to do that actual shooting. Then you find out the person who hired them is part of an organization that has also hired other people. Then you find out this person was the actual hitman, right? Then you find out they're connected to a gang. Then you find out that gang is connected to this. Then you find out the leader of the gang is a rapper who used to be the head of the gang member on paper, but then he legitimized his business, but still actually orchestrates gang-related activities behind the comfort of his organization. But see, that may have took 6 or 7 years to find out. So correct. What ends up happening is once they, like Dre said, once they realize that this is actually a spider web and not an isolated incident, because what the Rico is like, oh no, this is spider web. This is not an isolated incident. We thought it was an isolated incident, and then we found out over time that it's actually connected. You start seeing the patterns. You start seeing. You take phones. You do this search warrants. And you start finding out the bigger picture. And then you're like, oh, nah, this is actually a group of them, right? Now you find out it's 7 people, right? And then you start looking at the criminal history of the 7 people. And when you find the criminal history of the 7 people, then guess what? You find out they're all friends. People are like, why are they friends? Why are they all associated? Then you start seeing them posting things on social media. Then you find out that they're actually part of a gang. And then that's how you get them. You get them because then you realize they've been associated for the past 15 years and they've been committing crimes for the past 15 years and they were all doing it together. You start following the money, you start following the behavior, and the next you know, you're like, what's the easiest way to get them all up out of here. You charge them all as a gang. You charge them with Rico as an organization. And now you permanently uproot them because they become more of a cancer, right? If the body is the community, they eventually become a cancer. And what they're doing with Rico is actually removing the cancer. Before, you were removing one person at a time. And then they come back and they're still infecting the community. But now with Rico, they're like, okay, we're gonna actually take the entire root of the cancer out. I mean, we're taking all the players off the board because now we realize that all the players are connected. So that
that's the thing. Yeah, the thing is, like, Braves, which you trust me, there's a lot of snitching going on. I don't know why folks say no snitches get stitches, because everybody snitch. But to answer your question, your earlier question, that is true. It doesn't matter what kind of firearm. You can have a little 22 Derringer. It doesn't matter. If you are a convicted felon or convicted of a domestic violence, you will be charged. You can be charged federally, especially if you're involved in a gang.
I see you, King T. I'm gonna bring up Dub Will first, and then King T, I'll bring you up. Dub Will, what's good? I ain't seen you in a minute, brother. Welcome.
What's going on? How y'all doing? Y'all hear me good? That's my
good,
sound.
brother?
Audio good?
Yeah, you good. I can hear you.
Well, evening to y'all. How y'all doing? Dre, when you were talking about those getting years for a bullet, you reminded me of that scene in Training Day with Denzel and Snoop. And he pulled him up. He said, you a felon, you got a gun. He said, you're federally fucked now. He said, that's 5 years, 10 years. He started taking the bullet out of the magazine. I just thought that was funny. But okay, my question, I actually put a super chat in, but since you dropped the leak, I came up.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Go ahead with it, brother.
Okay, I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, because I know the things that Fannie Willis are doing are locally or for only statewide.
No, she's doing it countywide, but truth be told, she's in communication with all the district attorneys in the Atlanta metro area, because it's not just a Fulton County thing. She's just the only one right now that's publicized on it, because Fulton County is the larger county, and everybody pretty much feeds off of Fulton County.
Okay. Well, but she's coming down really hard. She's not playing any games, from what I understand.
Because this gang shit has been going on since 2012 and 2013.
Right. So I don't know if you can see my super chat.
Yeah. I'll put that.
I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but my question was really is from what I understand, I was a little kid then, but back in '94 when that crime bill happened, a lot of Black people in the community were calling for major reforms, calling for stricter punishments for drug dealers and so forth, right? And so, but now we see that the effects of that, or a lot of the complaints about that crime bill in present day, and that maybe it was too harsh. So do you see something like that happening in this situation? Let's say 10, 15, 20 years down the road, saying, okay, you might have went too far, or do you think this is the appropriate measures?
It's appropriate measures, because you have to understand that you're only seeing the surface of what's going on. If you understood about the phone calls, the family, the witness intimidation, the witness tampering, we had a case where gang members have killed children who were supposed to testify. So you have to understand, bruh. And because what it is what they'll do is separate. They'll separate you. I had a gang, just to give you an example, I had a gang case where I was involved in because they were doing a string of carjackings. And in the process of doing the carjackings, they committed a murder, which prompted a retaliation murder that made the news. Okay. Because the murder was not sanctioned, a green light was put on them. And one of them, once they got prosecuted, one of them was killed in prison. Right. The other two haven't been killed. Now, one of them has blown up in prison. He got mad rank since he's been in there. But what you have to understand is you have to set a message. You have Pistol Pete up there in Rikers in solitary. You have the creator of Sex Money Murder at Rikers in solitary. No mail can come in, no nothing. Totally isolated, because they're communicating with the outside. And truth be told, you got 3 hots in a cot. you living good, especially if you have some rank in there. You have a medical, you have the infirmary, you have your meals, and you have your underlings under you. You're making backwell deals with the Aryan Nation and other the essays in prison. It's a business. Just because you locked up don't mean that shit stop.
Right.
And that's the thing. If someone brought up solution, the solution is we as a we have to take control over our kids, because half the times we don't know what our kids are doing.
Yep.
There's been times I've called parents like, "Hey, Double Will, is your son so and so?" "Yeah." He's down here in my office." "Nah, he's in bed." "No, I'm telling you, I'm looking at your son right now."
Facts.
"Is chocolate brother with bald head?" "Yeah, that's my boy." "But he in bed." You walk in the room and room empty.
Yep.
Parents really don't know what their children are doing.
Yep.
And a lot of parents were like, "Yo, send them down the road." But you have single parents that's like, "Look, I got 4 other kids. He's a bad influence on my kids. I'm
Get him
done with
out
you."
of here. Yep. Can't tell you how many times I heard that. I can't do nothing with him. His brother got killed last year. We try to talk to him. He don't listen. Whatever you need to do, officer. These are, and I got 3 more after him I got to worry about. And he out here, you stay an hour away. I'm arresting you. You are an hour away from home. You done took the train all the way to the north side of Georgia and getting locked up doing something stupid. All right, man, every time, man, everything I've seen, all the problems I've seen have rooted from dysfunctional households. And to your point with the crime bill, Double Will, and thank you for mentioning that, bringing that up, and for the super chat. The thing with the crime bill was that was something that was targeting Black people, period, right? They were being petty. They were being racist. It was systemically done. That had an agenda behind it. With this particular situation with Rico, these are actual violent criminals that are really, really destroying Black communities. You know what I mean? Like these are people who have track records of destroying and causing mayhem against Black people. Everybody I arrested, violent offenders, and I say this, and I know I'm not saying Black on Black crime, but I'm saying all the people that I've saved were Black people. I saved them against other Black people, right? And so this was not an act against, or a racist act to try to hurt or harm Black people as a whole. It was, hey, we need to remove a bad element, which is a very small percentage in our community, yet they are responsible for 80% of the violence. A small percentage responsible for the greatest problems. And it's removing that element out so that people who live there can one, live a productive and a peaceful life like everyone deserves to. You know what I mean? And so, but that is how I look at the crime bill versus this Rico thing. This is not a target against any Black person. This is a target against people who are committing acts of violence. And again, these group in this particular incident were targeting celebrities. They were targeting people on social media. So now, like Dre saying, or even like you, Double Will, those who have kids, you can't even get your kids. When I was coming up, we weren't allowed to put our toys on Christmas outside in front of the house afterwards because it was advertisement. And even when I was policing, I would tell people, I'll go by the house, hey, don't dump your toys or boxes, things that you got for Christmas outside in front of your yard, because people drive by and now they see okay, so someone got a PlayStation 2 this Christmas. I'm gonna double back tomorrow.
Right.
Or kids will go to school and brag about what they got for Christmas, and then those kids will come and break into their house and take their stuff. And so what we're seeing now is social media being used as a form of advertisement for thieves to come in and break in, tie you up. You got 16-year-olds duct taping people up in the house. Where'd they learn that from? And so, but that honestly, Double Will, is a great comparison just in general, as far as is we're seeing the government using law to round up a lot of Black people. But I assure you, these, and again, with this Rico charge, Dre will tell you, there's some people who may not have done any necessarily a severe crime. They did commit a crime with the group, but they're being roped in. Some will say it's not fair, but some will also say that your parents should have said birds of a feather. You know, we're not getting those teachings anymore, man. Hey, birds of a feather flock together. Meaning, you know, I was taught that, and I made sure that I hung around people based on, you know, my character, my values, and that I did not get caught up in that. But that's a great point. Double, you got another question for Dre? I'm gonna bring up King T. If you got anything you
one quick one. You when you mentioned about the solitary in prison. I mean, I've heard that before about basically like how the prison, the shot callers in prison can actually affect what's going on in the street. Is there a way to stop that or to cut that off? Is it possible?
No, because you still dealing with human beings. As long as you got CEOs that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they always gonna have a link to the outside.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, think about it. I mean, come on now. If you working at how you having women in prison popping up pregnant?
Right.
Well, you know what time that is.
You understand what I'm saying? So you have to look at it, and it's like when it comes down to these organizations, that somebody asked me, are gangs considered organizations? Yes, they are. They are organized. They have a rank structure. They have a payment plan. Some don't have benefits. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I ain't gonna put look, when they have literature, they call it their Bible. Okay. And they have literature. They are very organized and they communicate statewide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot. And when you're in it, when you're in the middle of it and you're talking about it, like we had a murder. This particular gang took over this entire complex, right? And there was a murder in the complex. And we knew for fact that they weren't there. They were somewhere else. So as the police department, it was like, what y'all doing? So you letting anybody come up and this is supposed to be your territory, right? This is what you told us. This is your territory. So anybody can come in here and kill anybody in this apartment complex that y'all claim is y'all hood. And what do you think they did? It wasn't us. It was boom, 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 boom. Okay. What proof you have? This is the proof we have. Go out there, hit the streets. Oh shit. Like, yo, I thought y'all don't snitch. Yeah, no. We do enough dirt in the hood. We expect to get police activity for the shit we do, but we're not responsible for stuff that we have absolutely nothing to do with. So if the Crips did it, they did it. If it was a rogue gang member that did it, they did it. We didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you. Listen, I'm telling you, if you was to, it will blow your mind the way these cats be like, yo, Double L, hey, I need you to call me at such time. Hey, Double L, hey, check this out. Nathan, yo, him and his boys about to go hit a lick. They about to go boom, 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 boom. Dude, yo, how much is that? Yo, I don't know. I mean, the last tip you gave me ain't paying through, so we probably just give you a couple $100. That's some bullshit. I'm telling you, they're about to hit this lick. I'm telling you, it's a big one. Or they about to commit a murder. They about to, oh boy ain't pay. He ain't good on the books. They about to delete him. I'm telling you. How much is that? If they do it, you get about 2 G's on that. All right. When they can't buy a lick, they can't break into a car, they can't do anything, and they still got to pay them dues. Oh man, we as a race have it messed up. Okay, we don't understand the difference between snitching and snitching is you have absolutely nothing to do with this situation, and you just sitting there like, hey, so and so doing this, but you are a family member or a friend and your friend was deleted, and you like, look, I was with homeboy, was this, and so came and did this. That is not snitching. Because one, how do you love your friend? Know he got deleted, and you have all the information that can bring these people to justice. You're not even worried about retaliation. You just don't want the hood to look at you as a punk. So now it bears a question, how good of a friend were you? How, you know what I'm saying? You sitting up there eating at this man's dinner table, and you know who deleted them, and the family's trying to figure out what happened. They want closure, and you sitting up there like, I ain't saying nothing. I don't deal with the police.
Yeah, the snitching culture is backwards, and I think the difference is we've got it confused. If you're not a criminal, you're not a part of that lifestyle. You snitching doesn't apply to you, right?
Civilian.
Yeah, you're a civilian. You know,
Right.
snitching is between two criminals who commit an act together, or you're two I won't say criminals. You're two people who've committed a crime, or you have something that could get you in trouble, or you did something that got you in trouble. And then the person who knows about it basically tells on you, right? In the midst of not trying to get in trouble themselves, but both of you are responsible for that action, or both of you are related to that action or said action, and then you end up basically telling on the other person so you can lessen your charge or to keep from getting in trouble. That's snitching. That's between two people involved in a criminal activity. But an innocent civilian who got nothing to do with nothing. So that's why in the community now you have people who have nothing to do with the crime are like, well, I don't want to be a snitch. Well, sir, you're not the criminal, right? Like, you're not the person who committed the crime. And so, like, there's this confusion that goes on there. I've seen situations where you had a person who was completely innocent and he's riding with his homeboy who's a criminal, and the homeboy got drugs on him. He got a stolen gun on him, and the car gets pulled over. I show up, and now you're stashing all of your stolen, the gun and the drugs in your best friend's car, right? And then I find it, and now your best friend and the criminal are in the car together. I say, well, whose gun is this? Whose drug is this? Now the driver, who's a good guy, his best friend's a criminal. He's like, oh, I can't snitch because if I tell him, well, guess what? Both of you guys are gonna go to jail for the same charge. I'm not gonna beg you for a confession. I'm gonna just take both of you. Now, the good friend, the good guy, who's just a friend of the criminal, now he's in a bad situation. Or I say the criminal who's supposed to be his friend put him in a bad situation because you're supposed to own that. That's yours, right? It shouldn't be hot potato. It shouldn't be, hey man, take the gun, let me take the drugs. No, sir, none of these are mine. It's like, I got school tomorrow,
Yeah.
So I think it's crazy, man. But Double, I appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna bring up King T.
Appreciate it, bro.
King T gonna bring the fire to the conversation. so I already, well, me and King. All right, Double, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. When me and King T first met, boy, that brother was handing me my ass on the stream. But we were able to talk it out, man, and he been rocking with me ever since. So King T's a good dude, very passionate brother. You'll probably remember him, Dre. You'll probably remember him. King T, what's good, bro? What's good? Take it easy on my guests.
Take it easy.
Hold on. You're muted, King T. You muted.
Salute.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Salute. You feel me? To everybody in the building,
What's good?
Hey, let's listen. I don't know how, everybody's raised different.
True.
Right? How I was raised, the things that you got yourself involved in as a man, you take up for that.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So that situation you just played out right now where you have a friend with you and the other friend got whatever, right?
That's right.
The real friend going to just, that's people going to take what that's yours.
Stand up, right.
You know what I'm saying? First of all, I don't need no friends in jail with me. You know what I'm telling you? So that's what all that snitching and stuff you're talking about, whatever the case is, that come into play. Let's back it up why the black community don't trust the police by not talking like how the police want us to talk.
That's right.
Okay. So last time you spoke, right, I gave you a scenario.
You did. Yep.
Where I'm walking by and the sergeant's telling people, hey, the reason why we can't solve none of this is because you guys don't want to talk and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I just had a simple question for him. If you seen wrong in your police department, have you ever voiced them things out?
Sure have.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm not saying you. I don't know you. You feel me? But I'm telling you how what this is reality in life. The person that sits there and opens their mouth, especially in you guys' field, is ostracized. You feel what I mean? They'll tell you straight out. Like when there's a call for a gun battle, we're not backing you up. You understand what I'm telling you? Once you're known as a talker, even in your midst, they don't respect that. So you guys want to come to us and tell us that we need to sit there and tell on this and tell on that and everything else. And I understand, but you guys don't even do it on your own behalf, and you guys are supposed to uphold the law.
True.
King
Hold
T,
on, Dre. Hold on.
Mhm.
1 second, Dre. Hold on. Before you go in.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead, King T. Well, I was gonna say, King
Yeah.
T, what I was gonna say was there's truth to what you're saying, right? No, we're not gonna deny that. There's absolutely truth to what you're saying, but there is some context though that we need to add to it so that it makes more so that it's more accurate, right? What you're saying, there's truth to it, but there's some things, some elements that we can speak on to bring some accuracy to it. But that is true. You have some situations with officers who, in some departments, who are ostracized for speaking out against certain things. That's very true. But it works on both sides too. Whereas you have an officer who is speaking out against bad officers and they're ostracized, and then you have good officers that are speaking out on bad officers, and they are actually uplifted
and celebrated.
So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because that is not the reality for every police department. There are some departments that are more corrupt than others, that have a lot of corruption, that have a lot of corrupt practices, and you have a lot of departments that do not, and where it's zero tolerance. And I think one thing that I've learned since I've been on YouTube is to make sure that I acknowledge the fact that there are some departments, especially we talk about pockets of officers like, say, New York, say, California, where they have old practices that have not been dismantled, that people have experienced. I've heard a lot of it in Florida, a lot of it in Louisiana, where there are black officers who participate in corrupt behavior too, and white officers. And so to your point, I definitely want to make sure we acknowledge that what you're saying is true. But we want to make sure we bring accuracy to it in saying that I've seen officers being held accountable when they've been reported and dealt with appropriately. I've seen New York officers who have lived a life of corruption for years and were arrested by New York officers. And so the issue is that, yes, what you said is a problem, but there are also officers who are also celebrated. I have spoken out.
Here's the
You know
thing.
what I'm saying?
Right?
So go ahead, bro.
There's good and bad in everything. Just like the president said the other day in the address, right? There's good and bad in everything in every field. Okay, but when you take an organization like the law enforcement, that you guys are supposed to be the epitome of law and order, right? And then you got people that are blatantly committing crimes. A criminal is a criminal because he is what he is, right?
True.
But a police officer to do that is like it's like the worst of the worst type of situations. So you got the guys in Baltimore, what I grew up in, the crash shooting in LA, right? And then all of a sudden, recently, you got the ones that sit up here, got the tattoos, talking about that they're, you know what I mean,
White
the executioners.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's make sure that when we're talking to the youth, right, that the trust has to be built for the community to respect law enforcement.
I agree.
First and foremost. So
I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I grew up, and it's funny because like I even told Nate, I grew up hating police. I used to run for NYPD. You know what I'm saying? Even though my sister was NYPD for a minute before she went to corrections. But the thing is, what I realized, I thought just like how you did. Then in my travels, because I'm an instructor. I do academy classes and I train different organizations, right? What I learned is that for this department that Nathan and I both work for, it blew my mind the way they went ahead and prosecuted officers for doing wrongdoing.
Yep.
But then I've been privy to other departments that sit down there and sweep that shit under the rug. Yep. So it's not blanket. It's not all organizations. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I grew up with NYPD, which is unionized. And whenever you have 35,000 officers in the street, the corruption, it could fly under the radar. But you have those who, exactly what you said, are afraid to say anything because of repercussions. You know what I'm saying? But I can only speak on the department I work for, where I've seen, officers report other officers were wrongdoing, and that hammer get dropped like an anvil. You know what I'm saying? And I salute that.
I'm
know
just
what I'm saying?
telling you,
But I'm also
as a
seeing,
black man in America, right?
yeah,
That's
but
far
see,
that's few and in between. You
but the
understand what I'm
thing
telling you?
is, well, here's the thing: it's a lot more prevalent than you know, but it's not
I
publicized.
know it's a few in between. When I got people that's coming out of prison that's doing 20, 30, 40 years plus that never committed that crime. And
Right.
these are black men and women that's coming out of prison. And you look through the situation, everything else, people are making up, intimidating the witnesses, everything else. This is what you guys are doing. So let's okay.
Well, no, you can't say
Let's not
what we
spin it. Let's
guys are
not.
doing. But what
Well,
you
I'm
have
just
to
talking about
understand
law
again,
enforcement.
We
Let's
talk about
not.
what you have to
Mhm.
understand is, I will tell you this,
Mhm.
right? Because it's way more deeper than the surface that you're bringing in. Because one, you're dealing with folks, you're dealing with impoverished folks that can't afford to have an attorney. You have
Mhm.
public defenders who you don't know
And
if
people
they,
shouldn't be trying to
what
railroad you
relationship
though.
they have.
Dre,
Right.
people shouldn't be
You know what I'm saying?
railroading you. You know
Right.
what I mean? If you did
Yeah.
not do the crime,
And it's,
you're listen. You're in law enforcement, right? You know what I mean? Or used to be, whatever, both of y'all, right?
well, I would tell
Here's
you
the thing.
like
Here's
this.
the thing.
I'm
Here's
in
the
the
thing. How do
court.
you
This is what I do. This is what I
listen?
do.
What I'm saying is when you're in a situation where you see innocent people that are literally in a cage for that many years in life. Some of these states they don't even give you restitution for that. You understand what I'm telling you?
Mm-hmm.
But
These people.
you
No,
know how you
listen,
come back at?
Dre, give me 1 second, bro.
Oh, we'll do. I got you.
Listen, their moms is dead, grandmas is dead, couldn't make it to the funeral. They
Right.
coming out the world in chains in 5-10 years, let alone 40 years.
Right.
I mean, just put yourself in that shoes right there. You know what I'm saying? And it's because that one individual, because instead of being just a person that's supposed to do his job and find the right criminal that did that, whatever that deed, you want to just pin it on everything just so you could wipe that board off. And you didn't care if any type of scenarios come up. You know what I mean? And the skin color, bro. Let me tell you something, bro. We're in the back. We're in the corners of everything in life. We catch the brunt of everything. So to pivot to the question at hand that y'all talking about the youth, right? You know what I mean? About this little situation with the gangs, everything else, bro. I don't know how. Listen, the gangs formed because the community was the crack epidemic hit, right? Families are broken down. Some of the ones that sat there was feeding the kids that both their mom and dad was doped up was the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm
I
telling you?
agree. I agree.
The ones I grew up with, if they seen that you was gifted in sports or school or this, everything else, they push you that way. They didn't sit there have to hand you something and say, hey, go put in work. So the scenario you give about how that little girl was being taken advantage of, I don't know what gang that is. I ain't never heard no shit like that, feel me? Because for you to have respect in what you do, you can't put yourself in them type of violations. You know what I'm saying? You like I'm being real with you, bro. I ain't
Right.
never heard no scenarios that you point. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just telling you that reality, the gangs was formed because people didn't have love in their own house, so the
True.
gang showed them love.
Yeah,
But
but you're talking about something that took place in the 1960s, where the gangs
no,
were.
I'm
You
talking
talking
about
about
in the 80s and 90s, bro. I'm
well,
talking about.
but
I can't tell you what 60s.
this is
I'm telling you right
2022.
now.
This is
Right.
2022, and it's not the same. This
Not
is,
the
I
same.
will tell you this: the quality of character
Right.
back then
It's
and what
different.
it is now is completely different.
Different.
I'm trying to tell you, there
Yeah.
is no code.
There's no
there
code
is
of
no
ethics.
loyalty. I'm
Yep.
telling you. What I'm telling you is everything you're saying is on point. All right. I grew up, like I said, I grew up in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? I grew up, I feel like this. Fuck it. I was a perp growing up. I am what I am. I still got cats in New York that still can't believe I went the law enforcement route. You know what I'm saying? But I work for the district attorney's office. I sit down and see these cases, and I have such a great relationship with my attorney. And if I say, like, look, we're gonna have a problem prosecuting this case because the facts don't line up. But there's not enough me there doing that.
There you go.
There's not enough folks like me doing that. And you have to understand a lot of this stuff you got a racial component to it, definitely, without a doubt. But a lot of it is they can't relate. They have absolutely no idea about the culture and what we go through and what we've been. So when they make decisions, is out of what they know and what they feel and what they see, but not what they've experienced.
And it's
You know what I'm
absent of compassion.
Correct.
That's too. It's absent of compassion because you can't. Again, that relation is so important. You know, when we talk about fixing the problem, you got to have more people in it. You know, and so One thing you said I wanted to speak on, what Dre just brought up, is you know, King T, you like an OG to me, right? Like that's the vibes I get. You like an OG. They don't even respect.
I've been around the block. You feel me?
Right.
I've been around the block.
And you see these kids, they don't respect the wisdom of an OG anymore.
They do, bro. Let me tell you something. They do when they know that man is the only role model as a father figure that they ever had in life. You see what I'm saying? When that man talks to them and says, "Hey, you know what I mean? That he knows that man wants the best for him and his family in the ways of his life to do better in life." Because I've been there. You understand what I'm telling you?
But we talking about you.
I done buried a whole lot of. I'm just telling you, like when I speak to the youngsters, right?
Right.
Everything y'all talking about, the music thing, everything else, this is the same thing they said when NWA came out back then. Okay. It's not the music that does A, B, and C. It's what the environment is. So these kids have no opportunity. Okay. You know what I'm saying? No real OGs to sit there and sit them down and say, "Hey, look, I've took a lot of losses. I've got a lot of stripes and bars." You know what I'm saying? But am I going to take what I know and my title and everything else for the betterment to sit there and try to change that kid's life because nobody probably talked to him like to you know what I mean?
Right.
So I grew up with real OGs that really sat me down and talked to me. You know what I'm saying? That was always pushing me on a different tip instead of the lane I was in. You know what I mean?
So
these are the only thing that respect wise that they were showing me that, and I knew where the love come from. You feel what I'm saying?
But that's absent.
So me sitting in the car and both of y'all my childhood friends, and I know y'all don't do shit, and I got a big ass bag in me, whatever the case is, and I get pulled over, I'm gonna take that. You know why? Because I'm a stand up dude. I'm a good fella for real.
And
you know what I'm saying?
that might be.
Well, I don't know that, bro. We don't, bro. Come on, for real.
But I'll say this, KT. That to me, you don't have a lot of stand up dudes no more. And I think I've watched guys let their baby mamas take charges for cookies, for stolen weapons. I've seen. So again, I think that might be a regional thing.
They're raised wrong. Listen to me. The ones that went to school went to school.
The
ones that was in the streets really did the streets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There was no fear of death or jail. Let me tell you something. You know what I'm saying? If I knew for a fact that I'm walking this path, whatever the case is, and this is what God presented me, right? I'm gonna take what was given to me. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you've been in the trenches of things in life. I'm just keeping it real with you, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because one thing about let me tell you something. One thing in life that you can never put a price on is your name. You understand what I'm telling you?
Dre said it earlier.
So if you're not committed to whatever it is in your life, I don't care if you want to be a mechanic, whatever it is in life, right? If you're not doing 100, I don't know what to tell you. You're moving wrong. That's not what a man. That's not what a man is.
I agree.
A man stands on his own 10 toes.
But I feel like that's not really being taught anymore, though. That's what I'm saying to you is I feel like that's not the norm anymore. Because again, you're absolutely right. I do agree with that piece. And let me ask you this now.
A lot of cats are not slowing down to ask these kids, "Hey man, what you going through?"
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like see, when you come in a situation where you want to blame music and you want to blame this, you want to blame the environment, this, everything else, and the tension's already there, what's that young man gonna learn?
This is true.
If you're not open, if you don't come with arms open and say, "Hey man, let me tell you, whatever it is in life that you want to know in life," because sometimes let me tell you something. Back in the day, this life wasn't glamorized like it is right now.
Nope.
Okay.
The stuff I'm telling you what I tell my niece and nephews.
All right.
And the little homies.
Do you let them? So with that being said, do you believe that the music has some influence over young minds?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the thing though. See, the reason why I never sat there and drank and smoked, whatever the case is, until I was in my early 20s, and I've been shitting knee deep since I was 10, 11.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get caught slipping.
That's
you know what I'm telling you? Okay. So if I got business to handle, whatever the case is, I'm gonna handle with that man. You know what I'm telling you? I don't have to sit there and handle that situation with that core that might involve that little kid in that core. You understand what I'm telling you?
Right.
There's codes to this. There's morals to this. There's situations where people gonna pull up. They're gonna see you with your grandma, your mama, your kids, everything else, and they're gonna say, "Oh, okay, that's today's not the day." You understand
Hey,
what I'm saying?
man.
We had. No, but I'm saying it's like this because people not sitting down and talking to them, listen to
Oh,
them,
okay.
family.
Okay,
Because
I see what you're talking
these
about.
I see what
kids,
you're saying. Yeah, I see what
yes,
you're saying.
because these
Because now
kids,
we
let me
got
tell you
guys.
something.
Now we got
This a
guys
pipeline
going and
going in.
shooting up. We got guys shooting up people's funerals. So the last big case I worked.
Kicking headstones, all that. We didn't do none of that dumb
I
shit.
agree. I agree. That's what Dre is saying. Go ahead, Dre. Go ahead, Dre.
TT,
You know?
let me tell you something. Like I said, I wasn't always police. All right, I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Dre was
Everything
a
you're
thug,
telling me is shit that I grew up with. It's shit that I was told. Like, we don't fuck with dumb cats. Yo, you can't count my money if you can't count to fall. Go to school, get your shit. You know what I'm saying? You have to be a man of integrity. If you do your dirt all by your lonely. I was always raised, do your dirt by your lonely. Don't bring nobody else into your stuff. All right. But
Dre,
that's not
let
how
me tell you what my OG told me, family. Okay. Don't be the type of dude that's over there pillow talking. Because you might have to do that person in that you love in life.
Man,
you understand what I'm telling you, bro?
I agree.
So there's certain things that I'm gonna take this
It's a
between
lot
me
of
and
that going
God.
on, bro.
No, I'm being real with you, family.
Yeah, and they be the ones throwing the man under the bus.
Well, see, here's the thing though. That person ain't real to them. See, that person should have stayed in school instead of thought it was cute to be over here, because now all of a sudden you're 27 years old, all of a sudden they hit you with a 20, 30, 40-year bid, and all of a sudden you want to shit your pants. No. You know what I mean? You shut the fuck up. The 4 little words, I want my lawyer, and keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
You know what I'm saying? If you sat there and said you was real about that when you was out there like that, hey man, there's no point in you sitting up here dragging another family and everything else, because you talking, all of a sudden 30 other people crumbling down. You know what I'm saying? That ain't real, bro.
Yeah, it's bad out here, King T. King T, you probably one of the last of the Mohicans, brother.
Yeah,
It's
because
bad
I
out
was raised
here.
in a different era, bro.
That's
You know
true,
what
and
I'm saying?
but
see, we had OGs that sat us down though, family. Listen to me,
but,
family.
but
How
I
to
agree.
lift
But what
weights,
Dre,
how to unclean it, and all that. You know what I'm saying?
but see what Dre is saying, King T. What Dre is telling you though is that there's a disconnect between the OGs and the new G's. Little lowercase G's and capital G's don't get along. There's a lot of clashing.
No.
These
Listen
kids
to me,
don't.
bro.
They're not listening. Not out here in Atlanta.
Listen to me, bro.
Can't tell them nothing.
If somebody would walk up to them and just ask them, and if they know your reputation being a boss, you understand what I'm telling you, bro?
Different. Yeah, that's different.
Trust me. They're gonna say, damn, why is this man taking the time to sit there and, you know what I mean, and try to guide me? Because see, I'm trying to save the kids by learning this hard lesson in prison. You know what I'm saying? About when you could be from 2 different gangs. This is how I grew up. You could be from 2 different gangs. That man sat there, his hood might have sat there and killed your brother. You understand what I'm telling you? But then you in jail together, whatever the case is. So when you're dealing with motherfucking the MA and the areas and everything else, you got to click together everything else. Then you realize it's everything segregated out.
That's
You
right.
see what I'm telling you? Then these kids open up books and everything else because they locked up and they got time in their hands. And all of a sudden, that man that went in 20 years ago don't come out the same man. After 10 years, the man is a different man. Trust me, family.
See,
y'all know this.
When they come back to the world, when they come back to the world, that's their opportunity.
Like that, bro.
Yeah, but when they come back to the world, that's their opportunity to spread that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm trying to stop it before that black man even get to that jail cell.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you, you could be an astronaut. You could be whatever you want to be in life. No, real talk, family. See, the thing is, when you a kid, you got dreams and say, hey man, I want to be a firefighter, astronaut, this, that, everything else. You know, because your mind is wide open. You know who limits that? It's other people that limit that, whatever case, and you start believing what they limit you on. You know what I'm saying? You think of the music thing, oh, this is the way to go. So I say I'm a gangster, so I gotta live this life in this music. No, the music was made for you to take you and your people out of that neighborhood.
That's right.
For you to do better, for you to come back like Nip did. The reason why you see Nipsey on my thing, family, see that's the epitome of a real black man that sat there, been through the struggle, but then all of a sudden made it in life. See what I'm saying? That didn't sell out his neighborhood, whatever the case was, came back to his neighborhood to sit there, uplift his neighborhood. You understand what I'm telling you, bro? This is what every black man has to face the music and look into the mirror and say, what am I doing for the youth in this world? Period. On your side, my side, everything is, if we want these kids to be better, we gotta sit there and teach these kids to be better. Us sitting up here putting them down and this, everything else, and blaming music and all that, bro. We're never gonna get there. I'm telling you this, family.
But I'm telling you like this, in Atlanta, I can look, I'm here in Atlanta, and I'm telling you, when OGs sit up there and tell these kids right, you know what they're doing? They're killing the OGs. They're shooting their ass.
Facts.
I'm telling you.
Hey.
Fact.
I'm telling you.
Bad out here.
Hey, let me tell you something. What's that young puppy gonna teach an old dog? You understand what I'm telling you? Everything you heard in the music and this, everything else, and what you think how you sitting there sagging and everything else, you best believe it came from somewhere. Let me tell you something. As much shit I done seen, whatever case, there's not a man in this world that can teach me something, whatever I ain't never seen before. I done buried 20. I done buried 20 before I was 15. Feel me?
Well,
This ain't no game out here. You know, after so many times, you know what happens? You really don't got no tears. Feel me? You really don't got no tears.
Check this out. Real McCoy says no one respects OGs in Atlanta, bro. This is the show me right now generation. No one cares about your history or what you used to do. This the problem. They're not talking about you, but he's talking about what the mentality. Yeah,
but
the mentality has changed. But King T, before you get into that, what
I want to just allude to that real quick, right?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Even if the person does not want to listen, right? I got young cats right now that I told them something 3, 4, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that look at me and say, "Hey, OG, you was right about that." You see what I'm saying? You because they at least they knew that I was sitting up here trying to sit there and game them in a situation. Because if I feel like that there's a person that's not made for that, bro, you see what I'm saying? You this ain't no game. This ain't no for the faint of hearts out here, bro. You know what I'm saying? These streets ain't nothing nice. When Nip said, these bullets ain't got no name. This is reality over here, bro. You know what I'm saying? I never want to have my little brothers and them walk behind my footsteps. You know what I mean? I did what I did, whatever the case is, and I took what it is. You know what I mean? And I got on my knees, hands and knees, and I prayed to God to forgive me for the things I done did. You understand what I'm telling you? But everybody that had it coming, whatever the case was, you know what it is? They had it coming because you know what? Some people got that shaitan in their eyes. Good or bad, whatever the case is. You know what I'm telling you? When it's your life or their life, whatever the case is, you best believe I'm gonna bet on me all day. Period.
So let me
so at least you get that off your chest and tell these youth. So for later on, that man can say, man, at least that one person in life really sat down and was really trying to talk to me like a man. Later on in life, see, that's what's gonna spark that brain. Like Pac said, see, I might not, I might not be the leader of the revolution, but I'm gonna spark that mind that's gonna sit there and lead that revolution. You understand what I'm telling you? This is what we about. These kids got to know that this is bigger than what they've seen out here. About what they do and everything else, because 20, 30 years, 40 years of your life, man, it's going to change you. You know what I mean? Your peoples are going to be this, everything else. So if you got the gift to sit there, even rap and make music and make a little bit of money, more money than what other cats did back in the day, bro, do better so you can sit there, better your community and everything else, so you can better your family. So you can be around your people and everything else, so you can guide the youth behind you to be to a better situation. These kids don't know nothing because either a lot of people not speaking to them or they're not respecting some of the OGs like y'all talking about. Because you know what? They start seeing that some of these OGs are full of shit. Just because you OG don't mean that your lingo match your walk.
That's true too. That's true too.
So it comes from who's speaking it. Not just because you're speaking it because you're older. See, I never have to sit there and go around and say, hey, yeah, you my little homie. Oh, yeah, I'm the OG. But you know what I mean? Hey, no. What you put in, what you put out, everything else, trust me, please, people already know. You ain't got to tell them nothing, whatever the case is. And the reason why I sat there hit this link, everything else is, bro, you hear my son in the background. I got a 2-year-old. He's named after Nip. That's baby Nip over there. His middle name's Ermias. You know what I mean? I'm Eritrean. You feel me, bro? I came over here like I told y'all last time. My mama came here with 7 kids and luggages. With not knowing the language, the culture, you know what I'm saying, with no education. You see what I'm saying? That's what Nip had to realize and say, hey, I got to do better in life because we're all, as people, especially as melanated people, we're all Africans in this, bro. We've always been behind the what do you call it? I say to myself, how do our ancestors look at us and we're not sitting up here trying to make the world better? Right. So I got to sit there and say to myself, as a man that had a lot of loss, everything else, you know what I'm saying? I say to myself, okay, the years that I got left in this world, what is it for, right? Why is God still put me in this world to do, so it's time for me to sit there and do better, to sit there and help the youth out. So because this prison pipeline that was going on, that's 49%, 50% African Americans, bro, come on. You know what I'm saying? Why I don't want to see.
Well, wait 1 second.
Family in there.
Wait, King T, but I'm gonna ask this question. Got someone in the audience wants to ask a question to you. Okay, look at you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, he just turned 3 too. You know what I mean? He born 5 days after Nip. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. That's what's up. Let me ask you that. We got a question. We got a question here. Says, does he feel like youth ever get to a point where they are too far gone? Do you feel like there's ever a point where the youth are too far gone?
You know, because here's the thing: you can never give up on hope.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You see, I was that kid that people gave up on hope on. You know who sat there and talked to me was the first person I sat there that really resonated in my brain and put that spark in it to sit there and say, hey man, I gotta do better, right? Instead of talk about it, right? I gotta do better, I gotta change a little bit and everything else, right? Change my circumstances and where I come from, it doesn't define me, was Jim Brown with that Mayor I Can program. When he looked at all of us, Bloods, Crips, essays, and everything else, he said, man, the Klan ain't gotta do no work no more. He said, you guys are doing all the work for them.
Facts.
So me being a 14, 15-year-old kid, listening to this, I'm saying, damn, I'm from Africa, and I'm here and I'm doing damage to my own community, everything else. Okay, I choose now to sit there and love my people. You know what I'm saying? And I exude that because you know the aura is what you put out is what you get back.
That's deep.
You feel me? You know what I mean?
So you said
like my OG.
King T, you said you used to run the streets back in your old days, back in the day,
Absolutely.
right?
I can't hide who I am. You know what I mean? God, this is what you know what I'm saying. This is what the same way who you are is what this is what I am.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you. What do you think was a factor in you being, we would say, misbehaving in the streets in your youth time? What do you think caused that? What do you think was the influence in that? Because obviously your mother told you that wasn't the right way to go about it.
It wasn't. Listen, it wasn't my mama. I put more gray hairs in my mama's head.
Then why?
Before she deserved it.
Then
No,
why?
Because you know what it was, bro. I'm just keeping 100 with you. When you see some of the homies that's in your neighborhood that's you know what I mean, that's no longer here. You know what I'm saying? It do something to you. So when you see somebody that you growing up in, or you playing basketball like how I was, and all of a sudden a different neighborhood come through, and they just and they older and they want to shoot up the basketball court, and we just little homies. You know what I'm saying? You would tell you something. You feel me, bro? When I was 11 years old, everything else, I'm at a bus stop, everything else, you know what I mean? And another crib sat there, you know what I mean? Older cat, 17, 18, sat there, you know, he pulled a pistol on me at you know what I'm saying? Right then and there, I already knew what time it is, because you know what it is? Even then, I didn't fear that shit in my life. Because the motherfucker had the nerve to sit there, jump in the car and jump back out and say with that Deuce 5 chrome one and say, I'll kill you, little nigga. You know what I mean? His girl had to stop him, everything else, but he seen it in my eyes. I didn't have, bro. This is what people better understand. You better know who you are as a man when you walk out them streets.
Right.
So if you ain't made for this, if you ain't made for that pedigree, whatever the case is, because I don't promote none of this shit. I'm just telling you my life. You understand what I'm telling you? That situation changed me to the point when I went back to the hood and I told my OG, and he said, and I told him straight up, if I had mines, I'd have killed that motherfucker at that young age.
Right.
Because right then at that young age, I realized, because I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I'm just minding my business, whatever the case was. I could have been at an ATM. I could have been a citizen, whatever the case is. Everybody got to defend theirs. You could be sitting at your house, whatever the case was. Somebody could barge through your door. Do you care who that person is, or what gang they is, or what this is? Or they wearing blue? You understand what I'm telling you?
Right.
We got Breonna Taylor in that situation, whatever the case is. You understand what I'm telling you? Certain things happen. People don't make it home. You see what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this, King T, because this is one of the questions I always ask people. What you went through is what you went through, right? You just described the conditions of the environment that you were in as a young kid. What would have changed that? Because no kid deserves to have to go through that, and a lot of kids go through that. What things need to be implemented so that other kids like your son shouldn't have to grow up in that lifestyle and that environment? What things could you do as a father? What things can society do to help, I would say, reverse engineer these issues so where they don't have to, you're not going to allow your son, you don't want your son to grow up the same way you did.
No, absolutely not.
So then how do we do that? How do we take responsibility as a community? What things can we do to ensure that your son
does not be involved in community?
We got to be
involved in your community.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? First it starts with the like my son, niece and nephews, everything else, and then you branch out with the kids in the neighborhood, everything else, the kids that you know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if it's like Snoop did when he did a little football league and everything else, there's a lot of great men that because of what we've seen in life, whatever the case was, that we wouldn't want no other kid to see that type of life. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because if you don't, like I said earlier, if you don't have hope, everything else, you have nothing in this life. You know what I'm saying? So I believe to sit there and say that we're a people of God. Okay? Literally. You know what I mean? Our DNA strands sat there and birthed this world. You understand what I'm telling you?
Right.
So certain things that we hear that how we're supposed to be look up on people, everything else. No. People been looking up at us since the beginning of time. Now all of a sudden we got this little rationalization to people telling us that we're inferior and everything else, and to tell us that being a straight A student, everything else, like you're trying to be something different you ain't. No, there's nothing wrong with being a straight A student. If you're gifted at that, everything else, do you. You know what I mean? Push that kid for the betterment of society, for the betterment of people and everything else. Because you know what? You got situations like in Buffalo, New York that's happening, right? Look what the kids are seeing. The community as a whole didn't even sit there and stand up and go out there and enforce and say, hey, man, we're not taking this shit no more. We're not taking our grandmas and them getting killed in churches, everything else.
But is
So,
the
like I said
problem?
earlier,
Is the bulk of the problem? Because now we're diving into is the issue in the community a police problem? The police are causing the problem, or the people who live in the community causing the problem, and the police are responding to said problem, or the police are responding to the problem and aren't making it better, right? Because there's a multitude of things going on. Because if you take all the police out and the police do not respond to Black communities, are the problems going to go away, or are they going to get worse?
Well, let me tell you something. Hopefully, them police officers coming in.
Now, see, now look, King T.
No, with a relationship with the community. What I'm telling you is like this, right? Sometimes a person calls, right, and all of a sudden, man, people are just coming out to take somebody to jail.
What I'm saying, if
you know what I'm saying,
would you rather have
as our community, our community, right?
Would you rather have the police or no? Will our community do better without the police or with the police?
With good police.
All
with
right.
good police, bro.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not telling you that we can have anarchy running through this joint, whatever the case is. What are we going to? What do we learn from that? What I'm saying is, we have to have good police for people to believe in.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like
right.
Walter Scott when he's dying, running off because he didn't want to be arrested, but you shoot that man in the back.
Well, the thing is,
imagine without the videos nowadays. What would people?
I agree that we need the videos. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to get to. Sometimes we end up saying the police are causing the problems of why we are not having good outcomes within our community. I'm asking you.
It's a big part. Listen to me, bro. Like Othel Wallace.
You said what?
It's a big part. You see what I'm saying? Because when we get pulled over, we're listen to me, family. People are automatically grabbing their guns, looking at us like we're threatening everything else.
But earlier, we're talking about how to repair the community so that our children don't grow up in a lifestyle where you were saying men are pulling guns on you, robbing you, doing things they have no business doing. That has nothing to do with the police. What I'm saying is, how do we fix our community?
Okay. So
you get what I'm saying?
So let me tell you the other part. How the police used to pick up some of the young homies, everything else, take them under the bridge and beat their ass.
Well, I'm aware of that.
No, hold on. And steal the money.
I'm aware of that.
You know what I mean?
I'm very aware of that.
Drop you off in the wrong neighborhood. So sometimes people understand. People that Minister Society situation when that kid was dropped off in that SA neighborhood.
That was a worse
in New York.
crime.
Bro, that happens all the time. So what I'm saying to you is like this: when you a kid and you seeing this, or you watching your people get done like this, how can you trust the law enforcement you see that's supposed to uphold these things? You got listen to me, family. You got grown ass men beating up on boys. You see what I'm telling you? I don't think they want any black men, grown black men, beating up their 15-year-old white sons.
King
you
T.
understand what I'm telling you? But since we're black, though, we're supposed to take that, though.
No, we're not. What I'm saying is,
that's why Tamir Rice died.
No, we're not.
It was a little white kid playing with a BB gun and everything else. I don't think it was so much of a threat. I don't think they would have sat there, rolled up like the cavalry real quick. Hey, bro, no, it's funny, but it's not funny, right?
No, it's not funny.
The situation happened less than 30 seconds.
No, you're missing.
The situation happened in 30 seconds, right?
Listen, King T, slow down.
You're supposed to sit back and observe real quick.
No, King T,
they came in guns blazing.
King T.
Trailblazing for a 12-year-old, bro.
KT, hold on, brother. You know, I know that I told you this brother passionate, Dre. He passionate.
Yeah.
King T, you gotta,
my son
King
walking out the
T,
door,
you
and
gotta
he
have
gonna be
a,
a
you
victim of
gotta,
that.
King T, we gotta get you a YouTube channel, brother.
Bro, you know what I mean? Hey, you know what it is though? When you have when people catch a little bit of fame, just like how you do outside in life, right? You make a little bit of money, everything else, you start changing your circumstances, your mindset. You see what I'm saying? You stop being humble. Like my daddy taught me, right? The richest man in the world is not above you. The poorest man in the world is not beneath you.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to be humble at all levels of life, because you're gonna be up sometimes, you're gonna be down sometimes.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Sometimes when you get to this little YouTube game, you know what happens? Like I told you a long time ago when I said, hey, I hope you're not trying to be like Officer Tatum, and you're like, oh hell no, hell no. You know what I'm saying? I said, okay. And then all of a sudden you brought the brother on, and he tries to do a whole 360.
Look,
act like he wasn't calling Breonna Taylor a drug dealer and boop diddy boop blah 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 like she deserved it.
Hey.
No, real talk. Let's be real. We're grown people out here.
King
We're
T,
having
I
real
will tell you this.
conversations.
And
that's why I rock with you, King T.
I said, look, I wish and Nathan know how I am. I'm very strategic when it comes to interviews. And after 2 minutes of talking to Officer Tatum, he won't want to talk to me no more. I'll just ask him 3 questions. And after those 3 questions, he'd be like, I don't want to say nothing.
Because here's the thing though. He's like you said earlier.
Well, what you think about the interview, King
you know what I'm saying? He gets so much money by saying these things. See, because him and Candace Owens and him, because they're black, they say these things to hurt our community and talk about our people in such a negative fashion. But the question I would ask for him is, what are you doing in your own neighborhood, in your own black community, to sit there and help the youth in there?
Well, first of all, he lives in Arizona.
0. He doesn't do 0. What does she do? 0. But you constantly talk down to our people and everything else. And here's the funny thing: she ended up having a mixed baby, right? Her own people started calling that baby monkey and everything else in her chats when she sat there and showed that mixed baby. You understand what I'm telling you? So it was fun when you know what I mean, until the rabbit got the gun. Yeah. You want to talk that until that shit coming back home, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh, yo, baby's a nigga."
King T is there. Listen, I will say this. I don't really bother too much when people choose to have kids with and mix around. This is a mixing country, nonetheless.
No, I'm not mad. I'm saying she thought she could that was not going to touch her. But as soon as them people seen that mixed baby, you know what they said to themselves? Oh, I'd just rather have that white man be with a white woman. Well, even if it came to her case, we like Candace Owens, but we'd rather have to see that blonde hair, blue eyed baby. You know what I'm saying?
The problem is the problem is
all that negative stuff when it came out, bro.
The problem is in general. Regardless of whatever person chooses. One of the things that I hate the most is that people try to discredit somebody else because they don't fit the narrative or they don't fit the mold that the community believes they should fit, right? They're originally not from here. They have immigrant parents. They're dating somebody that's white.
Sometimes people have no problem selling their souls out, selling their people out, family.
And that's
just for the almighty, just like Jesse Lee Peterson. Talk about homosexuals like he does everything else, and this man been up here going through that community like nobody's business.
King T, right? But again, you have people who make a business out of it. Regardless, though, just speaking specifically, just in general, at the end of the day, we're distracting ourselves and deflecting when people are trying to bring out and expose things that are unhealthy for community or unhealthy behavior. Sometimes what ends up happening is people like to say, okay, that person's gay, that person's white, or that person's biracial, that person has immigrant parents, or that person's never been, and they use those things to deflect from the conversation. And sometimes I don't like when people do that. You know, I like to just let's stick to the facts. Let's stick to the truth. I don't care where you came from, what you look like, who you're dating. The facts are always going to trump people's feelings. But again, I think that's one of the things that we tend to do a lot in our community is we try to look at things to try to discredit somebody versus pay attention to what's actually being said. But
I agree on that. I mean, it's all I'll tell you is like this, family, right? Hold on, son. It's okay. It's okay. I got you.
He said, I got you.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because hey, you know, when you raising a baby and everything else, everything depends on you, right?
Oh no, for
So
sure, for
patience,
sure.
everything else, you know, so patience and everything else got to come to play the same way you deal with, you know what I mean? Let me tell you something. You say you love your people, how you view your son, everything else, like I am. You have to view other people's kids like that.
I
And you
agree.
want the betterment for that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So
Yep.
my thing is like this: when you go to bed at night, you know what I mean. Everybody, when the lights is off, everything else, it's only you and God at that present time. So people doing certain things, if they're selling their souls out for that mighty dollar, for the community sake, whatever case, just whatever the case is, I respect you, bro, because I see that you went from the path you went, and you really ask questions and have these shows that you're just trying to spark the mind for us to be better, right?
Absolutely.
And I respect that. You know what I'm
Thank
telling you? Even though because you would never catch me talking to any type of law enforcement. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I remember you told me.
I'm not just keeping it.
Wait, let me ask you this, King T, real quick before Dre jump in. King T, what if your son decided he wanted to be a cop?
I'll tell him to be the best cop possible.
Okay.
To be a respectful cop that's out there that's doing good for the community, everything else, and don't violate people.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
you know
right.
What I mean? Just because you're a cop doesn't mean you can't show empathy. My thing is like this. What I'm trying to tell you is the things that is shown to other communities, bro. For some reason, we don't get granted that. So when it's a traffic stop, everything else, for some reason, instead of being, okay, he's a black male, all of a sudden you grab your gun. What's the tension for? You don't even know that man.
But that's not every.
No, I'm not saying every. Okay. I'm telling you my experiences, bro.
Understood.
Well,
Understood.
I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, and this is no excuse or anything. Like when folks that I know in the community will come and complain to me that, well, like Nathan and I had a young lady that was in the academy with us. And she would never walk when she did a traffic stop, she wouldn't walk up to a car door without having her hand on her gun. But we know why. She couldn't fight. She was very scary. And a lot of times what folks don't understand is when you encounter law enforcement, I always ask this one question. When someone comes to me and complain, hey, officer so-and-so was an a-hole, this, and this. I was like, hold on. Let me find out what was the call he went on before he pulled you over. And I'm gonna tell you, I've had some bad days where I have seen some stuff that I couldn't get out of my head, and somebody pull out in front of me and do something stupid. And I get out the car and I'm hot. I'm 38 hot because I just left a crime scene.
You're human though. You're human,
right?
Though.
And that's the thing. I got cussed out. Listen, I got cussed out by a beautiful older black lady. Because I pulled her over because her she was driving with no lights on in some of the worst areas where folks would jump out on you and steal your car. I pulled her over, and before I could even say my name, she's cussing me out. And I was like, well, hold on a second. Just do me a favor, please. 2 things. Look at your dashboard and look in front of your car. What's wrong? I don't understand. I said, well, ma'am, do you mind stepping out of your car so I can show you why I pulled you over? Fuck. All right. She stepped out of the car. She looked at her headlights and she's like, oh shit.
The headlights is out?
And I was like, ma'am, I just want you to be safe. You have good air. Give me a ticket. No, ma'am. I just wanted you to be safe. Give me I was like, listen. I was like, all right, ma'am. All right. If you want the ticket.
It wasn't you that she was mad at.
She was mad at the uniform.
Listen, it was a guy before you or the lady before you that sat there, came to the door, like you said, that girl who was clutching her shit. You know what I'm telling you? See, sometimes what we I had to learn this a long time ago, right? I deal in sales, right?
Me too, Michi X.
See, I had
you doing sales?
Yeah, I deal sales, right?
Okay.
So you get with an individual, right? And you and that person don't hit it off. You know, my manager, this is years ago. My manager pulled me aside and said, hey, you know that person? I said, no. He said, did they know you? I said, no. He said, so why you take it personal?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm telling you?
Mm-hmm.
See, we train like when somebody does something to us that we react so fast, right? But you don't even know that person. She didn't know you. It's because that person before you did something to her.
But I didn't take it personal.
That warned you.
Because you can say whatever you want.
You handled the right way.
Just don't put your hands on me. That's the only rule I have. You can call me anything. You can call me anything. You can say whatever you want.
You're the cop that people want to be stopped by. But 9 times out of 10, it's bro. It's like I'm telling you, it's the aggression. The aggression is there because
you just said something.
Talking, and they got to be. Hey, Sit up. Come here.
But here's the thing. You said
all that yelling and aggressive, bro. I'm like, what the?
But
bro,
you said something that Nate. But here's the thing. I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
you said that because it's something that Nate continuously say. It's a crapshoot. You said I'm somebody that somebody won't be pulled over. What's the odds of getting somebody like me? You understand what I'm saying? And I'll laugh it off, but you may not get that person that's gonna laugh it off. You may get that officer that's pushing through his ego. You understand what I'm saying?
Let me tell you something. How about that officer woke up that day? His wife just served him papers. He got to get divorced.
I ain't coming
to
work.
All of a sudden he got to hit the beat and this everything else. He got this thing on his head. Maybe he should have took a day off.
Yeah, and what you're saying, King T,
we're human, bro.
What you're saying is you're right. I was just about to say that we're human. How do you? And let me say this in closing. And King T, I want to get your closing statements as well. And I always, you got to come back, King T. You always bring
I'll come back, bro. You know what I mean? I respect you because you came to OC's platform. So when you came there, I said, oh, okay, this man is you different. You feel me? You authentic, right?
Thank you.
You just got to be who you are in life. Like everybody needs to learn instead of try to be something that they not all the time.
Nah. Shout out to OC the great. He's a great content creator.
And by the way, before I forget too, make sure we revisit that case of Othell Wallace because that situation could happen to any black man or woman.
That's correct.
I'm telling you, that sit in this car and they come out to be and they say, oh, it was proactive policing. Yeah, I don't think it was West Palm Beach. I don't think they do with the $1 million homes. I don't think they do proactive policing out there like that.
Well, let me say this about that. Let me say this about that. That's the reason why I made the video, to educate us on how to handle a situation when you have an overzealous officer. What do? What is the best way to handle that situation to keep yourself safe and not put yourself in a compromising situation? Because see, now if you do something and you're not 100% sure because you might not understand, you could put yourself in a very, very precarious situation to where now you have to fight for your life, literally in the court of law again. And so I want everybody to be safe. I want the officer to be safe. I want the citizen to be safe. I don't want people clashing, man, when it's not necessary. You get what I'm saying? And so you got police officers that can put themselves in very bad situations with their mouth and with their action. That's a fact. You have black people and you have white people. You got citizens in general who can put themselves in bad situations because of their mouth and because of their actions. And my job, my goal is to educate people, even police officers, on how to not put yourself in bad situations with the police with your mouth and with your actions. The last video I did recently with the young lady who was driving and she was like, I just want to pull over in a bright lit area. And the officer spazzed out on her.
Oh, man.
Right? And look how she handled it.
He told I'll put you down.
I'll put you down. He said, if you made one,
got two little girls in the car. I'm like,
man, listen,
pregnant, bro.
King T, you heard what he said?
God.
You heard what he said? He said, listen, I will, if you make any wrong move, it'll be the last move you make. That man does not need to be a police officer, right? So
he needs anger management.
To my point, though, did you see the video I did? The video I did with the pastor, the black pastor. This brother out. He out here, King T. He out here.
I don't think he should even be. He should be a security guard in the mall. Matter of fact,
he shouldn't even
like any type of security job. Yeah.
Nope.
You gonna be manning the stairs.
Like, none of that. No keys. So again, you got officers. You got two officers that showed up to a man watering flowers. He said, "I'm Pastor Jennings."
Nah, but you know what that was though. Even a white lady came and said, "Hey, officer. Hey, I'm the one that called. Oh, I didn't recognize him. That's my neighbor across the street.
But
he's good friends with him." Even then, they said, yeah. The wife came out with the ID. Said, "Oh, hey, by the way, I got IDs. No, we arrested him, so we can't unarrest him."
Which was BS. Which was BS.
And the pastor said he was an ex-law enforcement. That's how y'all do. Hey, let me tell you something. People like people claim that they for that Blue Lives Matter. But as soon as that person have to be what do you call like them Capitol Police have to learn that day, use a nigga. You'll put that gun down, nigga. We show you what time it is. That's what them goofy white boys are saying.
Well,
so all of a sudden you look at some of your colleagues that open up the gates to let them in. And then all of a sudden, these fools are trying to get at your, you know what I mean? They chase you like, bro. I said, uh-oh.
KT,
Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world.
KT,
Hello, hey, that's reality.
I can't with you, bro. I can't.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Like hey, I'm gonna make it home to my son. I promise you that.
All right.
I promise you that. You know what I mean?
All
So, hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, no, but real though. You know what I mean? It's all jokes aside. These things that happening. Imagine we didn't have these cameras, bro. Imagine if we had these body cameras, these cell phone cameras, how they were beating that one dude up in the back of the corner store. They were kneeing him. They were, all of a sudden the camera said, "Hey, put the camera down."
We need them. Hey tight. We need cameras, man. I'm a firm believer. At the end of the day, cameras need to be on every police officer's body that's enforcing the law.
Man,
but King T, we gonna shut it down, brother. You know, listen, we definitely.
I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but do me a favor though. Revisit that case with Othel Wallace, bro, so people can understand. You know what I mean? That how that, because his trial is coming up next year. Okay. And,
when more information comes out, I'm definitely going to do that. And again, I think Dre was telling me I definitely need to do a video on police encounters. We need to do a specific one, a specific stream just on police encounters, what to say, how to say it, what words, what verbiage, the proper verbiage to use, and then just how to conduct yourself so you can collect a check, right? At the end of the day, if you do this right, you can get a check at the end of the rainbow, right? You see the pastor, he's about to get paid. He was falsely arrested, right?
You told him straight up. Oh, yeah, there's a lawsuit coming.
So,
the church about to get a new roof. Yeah. We gonna yeah. Well, do what you gonna do.
Do what you gonna do.
You know what I mean? And they're so gullible. They said, "Oh yeah, he talking back. Yeah. We got to prove to him that we're gonna lock him up."
Yeah, they are.
You on camera, goofy.
Yeah,
you know this is social media, right? This ain't back in the day when I was young that you had to, for you to find out what's going on in New York, you have to wait till the next morning to get that New York Times. You know what I'm telling you? This is what they call social media. Instantly.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So
and thank God for that.
How about the next show, bro? Let's talk about more about the youth, bro. How we help the youth instead of so we could dissect how. Okay, we've dissected the problem. Let's find out the solutions to this and what each and every person on your feet, on your end of things, where I come from, everything else, that we could bridge the situation so that way these kids could be better kids and a better version of themselves when they grow up in life, better human beings.
Now you're talking my language. Let's do that.
Bingo.
Do that.
So
shoot me an email so we can set something. We can schedule something.
I got you, bro.
All right, brother.
Dre, it's a pleasure, bro. Nathan, you keep doing your thing, bro.
Appreciate it,
Dre, I don't know about you yet. You know, I got to keep my third eye open on you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Much respect. You know what I'm saying? We live it.
Respect.
You know what I mean?
All right. Oh my! Shout out to King T, boy. He's a handful. That brother's on point. Shout out to OC the Great. That brother, if you guys aren't familiar with him, please check him out. Very pro-black channel, you guys. He's very pro-black, but he's all about documenting the news, real events, getting some truthful information out. Thing that the media doesn't talk much about. He tries to cover it on his channel. So please, if you guys, if you have not, at the moderation, check if you can OC the Great TV. You can drop his link. Check out his channel. See what you guys think about it, and then let me know what you think. If you see value in what he's doing, please support him. He definitely tries to spread positive messages and get some good information out. So I got a chance to go over on his channel. I actually have a video. He interviewed me on his channel. It was good. It was a good discussion. So it is in the feature tab. I might have to I'll probably drop the link so you guys check it out. But it was a great interview, and his audience was a tough audience. A lot of them are anti-police, anti-government. They just kind of want to do their own thing, live their best life. And so shout out to them. What you laughing at all?
she been on a roll all night, my dude.
Yeah, yes. You see King T got me. I'm empty on the drink. What you empty? So there we go. Shout out to you, LaShawn. Thank you so much. Yes, drinks on you. This has been a good stream. King T, full of energy. Their brother's very passionate. I told y'all before he came up here. He's very passionate. He will.
I like where his heart is. I
his heart's in the right place. Absolutely. And that's a person that's just tired of seeing the BS. You know what I mean?
He is, but I still think that he's still living. He's still living the old guard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He has to adapt because everything he's saying is valid.
It's outdated.
Right. Is that message going to get across to the youth who feel that, look, I get tired of telling even my own kids, I've been your age. You've never been my age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I run the same line my father said, ain't shit too slick to a can of oil. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing that you have ever done or plan on doing that I haven't done or thought about doing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's cut it out. Listen, my job, even in law enforcement, my job is not to hamper or stunt your growth or stop you from having fun.
Right.
It is to put you in the best situation to succeed and still have fun without having to worry about, destroying your name and your reputation in the process. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And like when we finally do that stream on sexual assault and how to get, alcohol facilitated sexual assault. When we do that, I'm telling you, it coincides with this gang culture, the Me Too movement, the feminist movement, it goes into all of that. All this thing is everything that's going on is not a one-off. It's all intertwined. It's all involved. And it's all about lack of accountability for the adults in the room who supposed to be mentoring these children and getting them right. We take such a hands-off approach, and we let electronics parent our children.
Right.
But yeah, at the end of the day, you're the one sitting up there doing the GoFundMe trying to come up with the legal fund.
Right.
Make it make sense.
Can we get, right. And can we get, my thing is, man, can we get to the source of the problem? Everybody's trying to cure the cancer. You know what I mean? And it's like, but we already got it. So how do what steps do we need to take to prevent it from even getting to this point?
Well, we're stage 4. That's the thing. You use the analogy of cancer. We're stage 4, and now we want to start implementing chemo. Like, hold on a second.
Right.
We damn near in hospice. We need to get back. We need to get back to when we were right before we were stage. When our blood work was off.
Yeah.
That's when we need to get in. Not saying that the folks that are that are terminal, in not the figurative sense, not the literal sense, in reference to they're so far gone that there's no coming back because their mentality and their thought pattern is gone.
Right.
I'm talking about you still have room to catch those that are, in this aspect, the cancer is contagious.
That's right.
And it's a mentality and it's a thought pattern, believing that this way of life is best when it's not. And I understand what King T was saying, but a lot of these kids aren't poor. They're not coming from impoverished families. So you are trying to relate in a lifestyle that you was never raised in. You hear stories, you may hear your dad and your uncles and his friends talk about stuff they did as kids, but you can't relate because it's different.
Correct.
Different circumstances, different times.
That's why I like what King T was touching on, because it's like that's the last of a dying breed. You know what I mean? Like he was spot on about all of that men being stand up. Like he came from an era where people, the folks who think like that they just got out of prison maybe like 10 years ago, and they're like, they're looking like, the game has changed.
Right.
The game is not the same anymore. And I've heard so many OGs say that the game's not the same. They're out here recording on social media the crimes that they're committing. They're snitching on themselves, right? It's like, hold on, he's holding up the pistol. I'm watching videos of guys joyriding in the stolen car and then parking in front of their house and then doing more videos and taking pictures, with the stolen. I mean, it's like, they're wild, and you can't, it's hard to his point. Yeah, you gotta try to talk to them, but it's very difficult to talk to them. But before you jump into that, real quick, let me shout out to Yvette. I want to go back and make sure I give my respects. Thank you so much, Yvette. You know what?
There's a lot of questions that we missed.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull them. I got them saved. I starred them. I got them saved. Yvette, thank you so much. Sorry I didn't pull them. I hate to pull up super chats in the middle of conversations. I want to be able to give my proper thanks. Thank you so much. She said powerful conversation. I think we did. I did pull it up, but I didn't get a chance to say thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it, you guys. We have a new member, Nina Church. Thank you so much, Nina. Welcome to the squad. Welcome to the squad tonight. It gets crazy. Nina also, Nina's giving a special shout out to King T. I think King T should have his own channel. I think he has a lot of passion. He has a powerful voice. I believe a lot of people will definitely listen to him. I enjoy listening to King T as well. And he even opened my eyes in the first conversation me and him had. He opened my eyes to a couple of things as well. And so King T, because Nina came back and was like, King T, start your own channel. You're a whole character. See, King T, you got energy I don't have, brother. You know, not only that, you're knowledgeable. You got your experience. But I definitely think you have a voice worth listening to. And I think people will definitely see value in. So shout out to you, King T, again. I appreciate you coming up. a whole comedian. And so Henry Vaughn says, this guy still hasn't said anything about self-accountability. Yeah, King. I was trying to bring King T back around. I was trying to bring him back around, but bless his heart. So shout out to Henry Vaughn for the $4.99. I think though, at the end of the day, one of the big things that King T was really talking on was just the fact that, one, we need men to step up. You know, that element's missing. People, we gotta act more like a community, like a real village. And we do have to have a response to the police problem, right? The police problem, we just got bad officers in the profession. And even if they get in the profession, we're not weeding them out properly. We're not weeding them out fast enough. You have some departments that entertain the bad officers, that protect and hide them. So what King T was saying was spot on. But sometimes we can get so passionate about talking about how bad the officers are, we forget to also acknowledge the ones that are doing good. And sometimes, again, like anything, we end up highlighting the bad so much that we forget that there is good. So again, LaShawn, thank you so much. LaShawn saw the struggle. LaShawn saw the struggle. She's like, get this man a drink. So shout out to you again, LaShawn. Thank you so much. And shout out to Nina. Thank you so much for becoming a member. We are so appreciative of that. And we're coming up on 4, Dre. I'm gonna let you do the closing.
Shut this down.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you shut it down. Let me see, make sure I didn't miss anything in here. Let me see. Oh boy, we touched on a lot. Yeah, for good reason. Dre, so go ahead, Dre. What's your closing? Go ahead and close this out. What are your closing statements?
I'm gonna need everybody to really take a step back and think about why this channel was created. This channel was created to educate us, to pull the veil behind the scenes, to show you what's actually going on. Okay. You got a great brother here, Nathan, that has volunteered his time to make sure that that he dispels any of the myths that's been going on in the community, to make sure that we have a leg up and understand that what we are being presented isn't what is, and we can rise above it and be successful and actually take over this world once we stop sabotaging ourselves. What you have to understand is I love to teach. My main job is to educate and inform and show you what's really going on. I've done a lot of my law enforcement career. I've done a lot of outside of my law enforcement career. And with this channel, use this channel as a beacon of understanding. You know you're going to get the truth here. You know it's not going to be sugar-coated. You're not going to Nathan's been very consistent since the first day he came online. Okay. And a lot of times you have to take your it's hard, but you have to take your emotions out of stuff and listen for the facts. Because what we feel and what we know sometimes are always in battle with each other. And I said it the other day, like we have to start loving each other again, because tomorrow is not promised. We over here making plans of things that we want to do, not understanding that we may not be here tomorrow to do them. So we need to make a conscious effort to start rebuilding our community and understanding and get this, and stop letting the media influence us, stop letting social media influence us, and stop letting folks that do not have our best interest in heart influence us. We're losing our children, and that's supposed to be our future. We're burying our children for senseless crimes. At what point are we going to start taking responsibility and grabbing hold of our children and saying that this is not the way? Finding their fathers and like, look, hey, whatever happened to us in the past is the past. We need to build this relationship for the sake of our children. I wasn't in the best place when we got together, but I'm getting there now. And I'm sure that you're working on that, but we need to work together to educate our children and explain to our children that, look, we are their foundation and you have to build upon us. And we're not doing a good job of that. So we need to get away from what we thought we knew and start reinventing ourselves and being the folks that we always dreamed we wanted to be and need to be. And we need to do that for our children, because they have no respect for us anymore. They don't respect their elders. They don't respect authority. And we need to get back to children respecting their parents, and parents putting the best image in front of their children so they can respect them. Use this channel as a beacon of knowledge and understanding, and know that there are people out here willing to tell you what others won't, that won't lie to you and won't do things for financial means. Ain't nobody here getting paid. The money that you donate goes to a nonprofit to help others.
Yep.
Okay, we're not going to lie to you to get paid. We're not going to do that. So don't expect that. You have any questions, they put my social media up. I'm here to teach about sexual assault, because that's what I do, or domestic violence. That's what I do. I've done a lot. I'm here to teach you to keep you safe.
Yep.
Because there's nothing like having a case come across your desk with somebody that you've known or someone that you've spoken to before. It's not cool, and it's hurtful. Yep. All right. And Michi X, I'm gonna send that a couple old thug pictures that I took back in the day. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, Dre. I appreciate you, bro, coming in and providing the knowledge, man. I appreciate you, and we're definitely gonna do that sexual assault video as well. I'm gonna get some. I have some plans. I'm gonna run it to you, and then we'll set it up. Appreciate you, brother. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Always. Meet you say, yeah, do that. Yeah, you do. Man, this was a great stream again tonight, you guys. Thank you so much for the participation. Shout out to King T. We're gonna help that brother get a channel, and I'm about to come over there every now and then. If he get a little too out of line, I'm like, all right, King T, all right. But shout out to you, King T. I think you guys, at the end of the day, regardless how we look at it, truth be told, right? We can't blame everything on everything. But I think if we're looking at things as a collective, I think we have to start seeing each other. Even King T would agree with this. Like he said, we got to start loving each other again. Part of loving each other is also being selfless. It's also being mindful that the things that we do, the things that we say have an impact on one another. If I decide to come out here and do something reckless, I can accidentally hurt someone else that I didn't mean to hurt. I think sometimes we do things and we don't realize that we are all interconnected, even though we don't realize it. Our reckless actions can impact someone else's life, to impact that person's life, and so forth and so on. And so I don't have all the answers, but I think even sometimes sparking the conversation and having the dialogue is a start. My prayer is that this channel is a blessing to people. They get a chance to hear things that someone else was willing to lie to them about, right? Like Dre said, let this be a beacon. Let this be a piece of knowledge or wisdom. Let me share the things that I went through, what I've seen, in hopes that it makes a difference and makes an impact. I always tell people, share the information, subscribe, be a part of the channel, be a part of the movement. And again, too, I'm learning as well, you guys. I've learned a lot since I started YouTube. I've learned a lot. People shared their experiences with me, and I get a chance to take that and add that to what I'm doing, add that a part of the journey, add it to a part of the mission, and then, reach out to more people. Shout out to Major TV. I had a conversation with him, and his experiences also have become a part of my journey, because now I get to tell his story when I'm on stage, when I'm in front of other people. I get to tell the story of a King T. I get to tell the story of an OC the Great. I get to tell the story of Amici X. I get to tell the story of people who are doing the work, whether they're doing something or not doing something. But I get to hear their experiences. I get to learn a different side of policing that I didn't have any knowledge of, that I didn't have experience of. But it's actually people's real encounters and real interactions with law enforcement. And so that matters, because it helps me put together and refine a lot of my visions and ideas of what I plan on putting out and implementing to help the problem. And so me having the conversation with everybody it's not for me to be right. It's for me to be accurate. I'm not here to prove anybody wrong. I'm here to understand why they believe they're right, and then take that information and build off of it. So I don't know, right? But I will say this, though. You guys really help inspire me and motivate me to push forward. Every time you show up on the streams, we have good conversation, and sometimes tough conversations. But nonetheless, you guys support. Thank you again, everybody tonight who's donated. It means a lot. It goes a long way. It helps with the growth of the channel. I really, really appreciate it. And shout out to Dre. You guys, Dre works early in the morning. He volunteers his time as well to help out with the stream, and because he also sees value in it. And again, we're here to just share our knowledge. We're here to share knowledge. We're not here to cape for anybody. But we do recognize there's issues in this profession, and we want to lend our voice to help fix it. And I think that's the power, right? The power is people who are willing to lend their resources to fix a problem. And I can do it. I can only do it the best I know how. But it still requires people to do physical work, right? And so I think that's the piece that we need to also implement. I can tell you how to do it. I can tell you what needs to be done, but people still need to do it in order for it to get done. And that's the magic piece, right? You can't run without legs. So hold on. Michi X has confirmed that Dre was a thug. She says she has seen the proof. Listen, Dre doesn't cap. Dre does not cap. He's like anti-cap. So if Dre said he was a thug back in the day, I believe it. Now, me, guys, I was not a thug. I was absolutely not a thug. My mom told me, parents told me about jail and prison and how that whole thing set up. That was more than enough, I got in my fair share of fights and all that kind of stuff, but outside of that, the crime was never part of my vocabulary. I think I told my crime stories. I've been charged. I ran from the police twice. Almost got caught. Almost a nerd. I wouldn't say a nerd. I would say part-time nerd. Part-time. Undercover nerd. Yeah. But no, I had to put my hands on a couple people coming up now. Like I never shied away from a fight. I just wasn't out here, acting crazy, just wasn't doing that. But yeah, so so doing right and doing things the right way were things that were never difficult for me. It wasn't like a struggle to do the right thing. I was never that guy. It was, I've always I feel pretty good. I've always had strong moral ethics about myself. My parents kind of beat that into me, so I never had any issues with that. So a couple times my run-in with the police, that time I got handcuffs put on me at the courthouse. They were about to send your boy to jail. I don't know. That was a long story. I got to tell that story another time. But I chickened out. But Yeah, I'm a nerd, you guys. I'm a nerd. So, anyways, shout out to my amazing moderators. Thank you so much, Miss Eds. I really appreciate you always, always. And Dre's a moderator too, but he's over here handling interviews. So, what's next? What's next on the agenda? I got a special video for you guys that I think is going to come out the week after next, I think. Yeah, but I'll be promoting it. I'll be promoting it in the community tab. Anywho, what else? Braves Club said Braves Club, I saw you pop up, brother. Sorry I couldn't get to you quick enough. You know, I got this thing. I try to bring one people up at a time. Shout out to you, Braves Club. I did see you. Sorry I didn't get a chance to bring you up. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much for those who donated tonight, supporting the chat. Shout out to our amazing new members of the channel, you guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of you guys. Anthony, you've been rocking with us for a while too. Been very active in the chat, so I really appreciate that. Always having good questions and good comments under the videos. Always looking forward to seeing your comments. So thank you so much, Anthony, for becoming a member of the channel. Welcome. And Nina, welcome to the channel, you guys. So our channel and this team is growing. So grateful for you guys. Listen, so Nina and Anthony, check out that exclusive video with Brandon Tatum. That's in there too. The last final video is going to drop actually next week. It's going to drop next week. So you guys will definitely be on time to see episode 4. I'll be promoting it more in the community tab as well. So definitely be there to check out. This was a good talk, man. I really appreciate you guys tonight. What you ran from the police? Leave it. Oh my God. You want proof? I ran from the police twice. You know, I got. Do I have any proof of that? What I have in there? I mean, it was back in the day. They couldn't catch a boy. Too fast for him. Yeah. He was quick, but he wasn't quick enough. Actually, I think I only got away because I was able to move through. There was a hole in the fence, a wooden fence. I was able to slide through it. He couldn't get through because all his gear. I think he would have caught me though. He'd caught me, but you gotta know them shortcuts. Shout out to that officer though. He's trying to get us for stealing candy in the store. I had a little side business at school, and my homeboy was like, we could just steal the candy and make 100% profit. I was like, that's how you been doing it? And then the cops was already lying in wait for your boy, but we got away, and that was it, right? Like I'm easily spooked. That was it, you know. I didn't have to. I wasn't gonna press my luck. I'm not the type to press my luck. So, part 2. Lisa Scott said part 2. It's all on the It's all in the membership section. Daria said, good conversation. Yeah, this is a great conversation tonight. We hitting 4 hours. Damn. I told myself I was going to stick to 2, but this is good. This is good conversation. Well, so anyways, you guys, listen, I hope you found this to be insightful. Hope everybody had some good takeaways from this. It was a great conversation. Shout out to Dub Will. Shout out to King T for coming up. And of course, shout out to Dre for having the conversation and really providing us with some good info. And that's it, you guys, for tonight. Oh man, I got some good videos to drop, so stay tuned, you guys. I'll be posting some crazy videos. You know, I had to dive into the white people 2 folder. You know, got to spread the love. You know, again, I'm always say this, that the police problem is an American problem. Police brutality is an American problem, and you know, we want to see everybody safe, officers and the citizens, and we definitely want that at the end of the day. So, all right, you guys have an amazing night. Good night. God bless. And until then, next time I shall see you. Stay tuned. All right. Peace out, y'all.